Hello, good evening, and welcome with sound. This is getting a little tiring, guys. I hope that you're all well. Top of the show, I have a big shout out. Steve Green, you asked would anyone say happy birthday to you, and they didn't. Shame on you all. Happy birthday, Steve. I hope you have had and are having and will continue to have a great birthday, pal. Very welcome. I'm glad you're joining us today. That's really great. So let's have a quick look through, see we got quite a few people. Oh, I did have a top comment. I did mention it. I've forgotten what it was now. Oh, yes. I've forgotten who it was. Said that the thumbnail says Mr. Sensible Live. I missed the S out and it should be Mr. Sensible Lives. Comment of the night. Straight off the top. Oh, there it is on the screen in front of me. Clive Wells. Thank you for that one, Clive. So let's rush to the top and see who we've got. Irish Dublin Girl. Hello. Chris Miyoshi. 2 hours gone by already. Wow, he's keen. Good man. Mark, hello to you. Colon, my ever-present moderator. Thank you. The Key Weasel, hello. Clive Wells, Glober Mom, and Basic Trigonometry. Good evening to you, and welcome to the channel. If you have been here before on a live stream, I apologise, I don't recognise the name. You're very, very welcome. Gaudence Riber, hey, and same to you. And Chris Durham Music Channel. Yeah, Chris, I fully understand. At your own time, pal. Looking forward to the finished article. I almost had a way to use it today, but I managed to persuade myself not to and wait for the finished thing. Brilliant. Looking forward to that. Mark has got cheese. Peter Quinn. Good. Who else we got? Edward Shiriak. Good and beautiful evening, gorgeous people. May your minds be flooded with great ideas. This channel gives you blessings. Thank you for that, Edward. Very kind. Pie Parrot. I couldn't start the stream until Pie Parrot arrived, of course. She's in charge. She's the boss lady. Micro Raptor, another new name. Hello to you. So I do it at some point. I'm going to have to give up doing this. I do enjoy it, but carry on down. Rob Slide. Hello to you. And you hope I'm feeling better. I'll give you an update on that in a minute, guys. Cheese Mondo. Good evening. Who else? We've got Demon Orb. IMD Fox. Hello to you. Heat Shield. Micro Raptor. Brainless Steel. Critical Cripple. FE Peer Review. Hello. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you are too, pal. Brainery. My latest patron. Good evening, Brainery. Darkman. Ugly German Truth, Barnacle Fisher, and my chat just jumped forwards. Hads, how's the foot? Cody, and 9 o'clock hero. Q. Haha, good evening, Q. Little private joke there. Sorry. So, yes, I got that. Well, top of the list was Steve Green's birthday greetings, then the chat and hellos. COVID update. I presume that most people have seen my community post and then the video that followed up that day. Yeah, I had a few days away in Cornwall, and it was good. It was nice and relaxing. So relaxing, I could do nothing but fall asleep all the time. I think it's one of those occasions when you switch off, and then you really realise how tired you are. But on whatever it was, the third day I think it was, we decided to go to Boscastle. I'd had a bit of an aching back the day before, but I get that from time to time, didn't really think anything of it. So we go to Boscastle, park up, start walking down to the actual front, and I'm getting slower and slower. My legs are aching, top of my legs, as though I'd walked a long way uphill. This isn't good, but okay. And I was getting slower and slower, and then my foot started hurting. We get down pretty much to the dock, and I said, I'm going to have to sit down. So we shuffled on round and found somewhere to sit. And my foot was, I've got to look at this. And I pulled my shoe off, and as soon as I did, the rubbing of taking my shoe off set my foot on fire. It was so itchy. Had a look. Oh, that's a bit swollen and red, isn't it? Showed Mrs. S. She said, oh, put that away. I thought probably best to sort of wander back after we had a bit of a sit down, wander back, grab something to eat. So we went to this chip shop with an outdoor area. Sat there waiting, placed an order, sat there waiting, and I started shivering. I got my jacket on. I think this is crazy, and shivering more and more, gradually feeling more and more ill. Got my food. I had to eat that, of course. Can't waste the money. And I said to Mrs. Sensible and Sexy Lisa, I said, I'm going to have to go back to the car. So I shuffled on ahead, and when I say shuffle, I mean shuffle. I was really slow, and sat in the car waiting for them. I was happy to wait as long as they needed. And when they got back to the car, I went back to the house. I took a cup of tea and went to bed. This was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think about 7 o'clock in the evening, Mrs. S woke me, gave me some food, which I was still hungry. I ate it, and then fell straight back asleep again. Several times through the night, I did become aware, because I was in so much pain now, because of my back and my foot and my calf, and I was sweating. Took the temperature a couple of times. It was with one of those electronic ones, and I don't think it was working properly because it read totally normal, and yet just putting my hand there, it felt all clammy. Something wasn't right. But anyway, the next morning I felt quite a lot better. No temperature, my leg wasn't aching anymore. All I had was the aching of my back. We thought, well, probably best to make a move home, because we were going to go sort of in the afternoon, but thought probably best to make a move home sort of straight after breakfast while I'm feeling okay. And I was fine all the way home. And so get home, do a bit of pottering around, sort out your stuff, see what's on the computer with emails and whatnot, and my foot started hurting again. And by 9 o'clock in the evening, it was agony. And had a look, and it was so swollen. It was the foot, the ankle, and about 2/3 up my calf. It was livid red and grossly swollen and very painful. I thought, right, well, this is going to be call the doctor's time, but probably best to wait until the morning, because when I had a night's sleep last time, it all went away. In the morning, it was exactly the same. So rang up, spoke to my GP. She got a second opinion because it's a strange mix of symptoms, and then they both agreed that they thought it was probably just some sort of infection, but it could be COVID related, because I had some of those symptoms. So they booked me in for a visit that afternoon at the local, it's a fair distance away, Hot Hub, which is a sort of COVID only area, or a COVID only hospital. I'm not sure which it was, whether the rest of the hospital was normal service. We just had to go there, turn up and park and ring a phone number. But in the meantime, I got a call from them, and they went through the whole story again, and they said exactly the same. Well, it sounds as if it's probably an infection, but it might be COVID. Yeah, come on in. So anyway, we go there, and the moment we park up, phone rings. It's them. Are you here? Yeah, we're here. Right, we'll drive round to the big white tent. Turn left, turn right, whatever. Okay. So we're driving around. Couldn't see the way to. Oh, there's the big tent. But there was sort of changes of road priorities, closed lanes, and all sorts. Couldn't see a way to get to it. Saw this medical guy walking around. Thought he'll know. Excuse me, mate. How do we get to the COVID tent there? And he said, that's not the COVID tent, that's the temporary morgue. Okay, we don't want to go there. Which way's the COVID tent? And he redirected us. So get there, wait a couple of minutes, they come out, just check the details, make sure I am who I am, and took me in for examination. They were fully gowned up, which I don't find a problem. I know some people find it threatening or whatever. I don't at all. I fully understand. And the doctor and nurse were absolutely excellent, really good, really thorough, and the detail, the checking they went into, I was really amazed at. And at the end they said, yeah, it looks like it's probably an infection, we'll give you a prescription for that, which they did, but yeah, COVID's still a possibility, and you're here, we want to give you a test. Okay, I've been dreading it because I've got this fear of tubes. That's the worst thing. Not waking up from an accident or something, but waking up from an accident or something and having tubes down my nose and throat. I live in dread of something like that. Don't mind needles, don't mind blood, that's fine. But things down inside, no. But it's got to be done. They did the throat first, and I said, look, I've got a really, really bad gag reflex. He said, okay. He said, well, I'll try and do it without the tongue depressor, but if I need to, I'll need to use depressor. And he didn't need to use the depressor. I did choke like buggery, and I was coughing and spluttering. But he managed to do it, and it wasn't too bad. Not pleasant at all, wasn't too bad. And then, of course, he had to do the nostrils, both of them. And I was dreading that more. But actually, to me, that didn't seem as bad. It felt a bit weird, but it wasn't as bad. Someone put a comment on the video saying they had to choose between their throat or a nostril. Well, I had all blooming three, didn't I? So, after that, it was just a case of wait for some paperwork and so on. And wait for the results. So I've been on the antibiotics, which is good. And the swelling in my foot and leg has slowly been getting better. I mean, I reckon, well, it's half the size it was, and it's nowhere near as painful. So I think the antibiotics are doing good. I was having a chat this morning with Colon, and while I was chatting, the phone went. I thought, oh, this could be the COVID call, because the test was on Thursday. They said sort of two to 3 days. Thursday or Friday? I forget now. So anyway, took the call, and it was from the Hot Hub, but they're saying, you've got an appointment today. Have I? I don't think so. She said, no, I don't think so either. It looks really confusing. The notes say this, and this, and how are you? We went through that. No, she said, I don't think you need a second appointment. Just wait for the test results. So I said, okay, where are they? And she said, that'll probably be tomorrow or the day after, but probably tomorrow. So that's where we are, waiting for the COVID test. And actually, I just realised I'm looking at a chat thing. Show it says Tusk for £2. Do you know what? I actually did have a photo of it. I don't think I've got it anymore. It was on my phone because it's quite horrible. So I had deleted the photos. You don't want to see it anyway. It wasn't manky, but it's not pleasant, and certainly didn't feel nice. I didn't think it would be the subject of discussion and pointing out and laughing at it on a live stream, Tusk. So sorry, pal. That's pretty much where we are with that. Wait and see and carry on improving. So sorry, guys, I've not been reading the chat at all. I'm sorry if I've missed out anything else. Peter Quinn, your poor wife with your foot out all the time. Although someone put rather a clever comment to the original posting. I bet Mrs. Sensible was pleased that you've got a swollen foot. You need to think about that. Yes. So, oh, Mr. Victory, hello to you. And little Miss V says hi too. Hello, Riley. I say it like that. I always said Riley before, but then people say Riley, as in Anthony. No, not Riley. It's Riley. But good evening to you. And anyone else who's joined in the meantime, because, sorry, there's a whole load of messages. I can't go and read out everyone, I'm afraid. So if I haven't read you out, it's not because I'm trying to ignore you. Not because I hate you, but just because of time. Mrs. Sensible was very naughty. She certainly is. Mainly friends saying hi to each other. Thanks, Snark. Okay, so that was the COVID update. I can tick that off my list. Next thing was, someone pointed me at another channel, where I was mentioned. And so I've been looking, it's rather a long live stream, but I was looking at it today, which was, actually, that reminds me of something else I need to cover. After I was doing something else, I was looking at this channel. I don't know if you've all heard of the Debunkies. Have you all heard of the Debunkies? It's being organised by Team Skeptic. It's a set of awards for creators, rather than the opposite of the DFOTY. And it turns out I've managed, because I haven't got through all the nominations of all the categories, but they did a whole bunch of categories for creators, under 1k, 1 to 5k, 5 to 15, 15 to 40, 40 up, I think. So I'm at 5.85 now. So I fit in the 5 to 15. So at the bottom end of that great category. But I'm in there. So I'm not sure of the dates of when the debunk is happening. But make sure you watch it. Please consider giving me a vote when it comes to it. But I got into another category as well, which I was really pleased about. They started off with, I think they narrowed it down to 28 entries and then gradually down 17, a little bit further and so on, till finally got to 13 entrants in the category of Top Debunker. And they got it down to 13. And then team said, look guys, don't worry about it, I'll weed out three more, the decision doesn't have to be on you. And he couldn't do it. So the category, which was going to have 10 entries, has got 13, and I'm one of them. So I'm really pleased about that as well. So once again, if you can watch it on the night, whenever that is, I'm sure you'll hear about it. If not, I'll let you know. Please consider putting down a vote for me. I'd appreciate it. But of course, I fully understand and won't hold it against you, and wouldn't know actually, if you voted for someone else. Oh, N Flat Earth voted me in for a few cents. Thank you. And FE Peer Review will put in a vote for me. Do they have a category for 19 subscribers? That would be me. They do have an under 1,000. But I think they've already populated those range categories. And did I just see Jut Monk the Drunk Monkey? Jut, I believe that you were in one of those categories. So good luck, pal. Good luck indeed. And Gaudence Rhymes not happy with the structure and the goal. Structure, I don't know, but what's the goal? I thought it was just recognition of creators. Maybe I've missed something, Microraptor prefers MC Toon. I love MC Toon. He's good at keeping calm, doesn't insult the flat earthers so much. That is very, very true. But what I was talking again, I think it was with Colon earlier. There are all sorts of creators, and there's all sorts of people who like different things. From our friend Jut Monk the Drunk Monkey, who has the foulest mouth on this fair earth, through to someone like MC Toon, who is unfailingly polite. Then you have people that just like to point and laugh, through to people that do the hard science like AB Science. So there's something for everyone. I fit there somewhere in the middle. I like making a bit of fun. I will be gently rude, and I'll show a little bit of science because I'm not a great scientist. And I guess that suits some people. Different things suit different people. Now, I admit I like Bob the Science Guy, but just as much I like Fight the Flat Earth and Team when they rip people a new one. And I like MC Toon, who just does things very, very politely. So, there's the whole range. So there really is something for everyone. I see. If I got a super chat, where's that gone? Brain is still NL super chatted €5. Thank you, Brainless. I really appreciate that. And I'll tell you what, that I'll consider that as a donation, not to Roxanne, because tonight no donations, no super chats are for Roxanne. I want to make that clear. I shall consider that a donation towards my next subject, the project. Yes, this super secret project is on track. It is proceeding. Today, I said I was working on something else. Today, I've been working on the announcement video. Quite a lot of work in it, and quite a lot more to do. I'm thinking, unless plans change, unless plans change, I'm planning on doing the announcement on Friday, 31st of July. So that's what, 20 days time? I think it's 20 days time. and I am so excited about it. I really am. And when you hear about it, I hope you are as well. It's just super cool. It really is. And hopefully we'll end up with some good globe Earth evidence. If not, it will just have been an amazing project, great fun, and as I said, very, very cool. So it's also a little costly, not as expensive as I'd thought. My ballpark estimate was for about £600. That was ballpark. It looks as though I'm going to be able to pull it in reasonably under that for reasons which I'll be able to go into nearer the time. So it's happening, guys. Where are we? Different people, different styles. Absolutely, Microraptor. Foulest mouth. Sounds Scottish. I don't think Jut's Scottish. Oh, excuse me. I'm a bit gassy. I do apologise. I blame it on all the COVIDs I've got running around all over me. What was I just about to say? Sorry, my chat's been jumping around. Hey, Crafty Keeler, good evening to you. And I see you are in the category, aren't you? Was it female creator? I think you're in that one. And is it 1 to 5k subscribers one? I think you might be in that as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I did hear your name mentioned with regard to the Debunkies. And actually, I do want to catch up with you at some point about something. Okay. Where else are we? Q says he's looking forward to the cool project. So am I, Q. Definitely. I think it was an absolute brainwave. I have to be very careful here because I don't want to give the game away at all. But I have enlisted or had volunteered some help from someone whose help is going to be very helpful. So that's improving the odds of success, for which I'm also very grateful. Where's the list? What list? Your parallel? Are you talking about the Debunkies? It was done in a live stream for nominations for the categories they've covered, but apparently there's a whole load more categories he didn't get round to. I don't know. Coolest haircut on a debunker? It could be. I could win that. I'm not sure. So there'll be other. I guess you'll have to check Team's channel. I think he's got a playlist or a mix list of debunkies. So there will be more coming up to cover more of the categories. Oh, I'm talking myself out here. I'm just going to check. Right. The other thing is, I'm going to put this up on screen now. The other thing is, this guy. Not this guy, not that guy, this guy. Anti-Globe. Now I did a video about him a little while back and then did another one. I think it was only a video or two back. And he's been shouting that he wants a debate. Wow. Can't really say no, can I? So I said, I'm up for a coldest haircut, thank you. I said to him, I'm up for a debate. You know, come onto my channel. When do you want it? All you've got to do is come onto the Discord, yada yada yada. And he said, no, you've got to go to my latest video and let me know and follow the instructions. Well, I went to his latest video, which didn't seem related at all. There was no mention, so I just posted my Discord link and said, you can come on here on this Saturday, and I'm up for a chat and a debate. No response. So I found a couple of his other videos which seemed to be more related to what we covered. Posted the invite there, no response. He's done another one today. I posted there. I don't think there's a response yet. And then he done another video saying, why won't anyone debate me? So I posted it there as well. Although that final one was only about half an hour before this stream was due to start. So yes, so if he turns up, we're going to have a debate. If he doesn't, then I wonder, because he was accusing people of being cowards, then I wonder who the coward is. I can understand if he didn't see an invite half an hour before this stream, but I've been posting messages for days, and he's been posting, but he hasn't replied to any of mine. Now, I'm not accusing him of being a coward. Far be it from me. Say no more. Say no more. Accuse him of being a coward. Say no more. But he may be a coward. But we'll see. Hopefully he'll come on, in which case I'll give him a fair crack of the whip. Of the whip, not with the whip. Fair crack of the whip, and as long as he follows the channel rules, no hate speech, no gratuitous swearing. The odd expletive that slips out is not a problem, but someone is just effing and blinding non-stop, that's not on. So as long as he follows those rules, I'll listen to him. I'll try and take apart what he says. Try, if I even know what he's saying, and we'll take it from there. So, what I want to do is play a clip from my latest video when I was discussing him, called Anti-Globe Does Flat Earth Stupid Again. A particular part of it. Let me just switch this on. Where are we? Okay, I'll switch off the topic again. Switch this on, and we'll have a go and see what you think of this.
So on the plane that's created around the circumference of a sphere, gravity is acting down, perpendicular.
Does anybody actually really, sorry, this is me, does anyone understand what the hell his diagram is? Those two lines with an area in between where he's labelled gravity. What is that supposed to be? I think from looking at several of his videos, he seems to think that the surface of the sphere is made up of 19 kilometre or 19 mile wide flat planes. Quite how he's got there I don't know, but let's carry on with my video a minute.
To this plane.
What plane? You've just drawn two random parallel lines and called the space in between them a plane. Where did that come from?
And it creates a barycenter.
What?
And it creates a barycenter in the center of the sphere.
I have no idea where you heard the word barycenter from, because you haven't got the faintest idea what a barycenter is. In a minute, I will show you how little idea he has of a barycenter. Carry on, Mr. Sensible.
You can spin this barycenter around 360 degrees and it doesn't change the sphere at all.
Barycenters don't spin around. Things spin around a barycenter. Like this. Here are two objects of identical mass orbiting round their common centre of mass, the cross in the middle. That is their barycenter. With objects of differing mass, the barycenter is closer to the larger object because it has the most mass. With a larger difference in mass, like with the Earth and Moon, the barycenter will actually be internal to the larger body. In effect, as the Moon orbits us, it gives us a little wobble. This hammer thrower is a perfect example. As he rotates, he doesn't spin exactly on the spot, he wobbles backwards and forwards because the mass on the hammer is pulling on him just as he is pulling on the mass of the hammer. Good shot! Nice one! So you see, Chutney, you've got about as much idea of barycenters as a tea leaf has of the history of the East India Company. And there you go. Let me just switch that back off a second. Where are we? I don't even know what I'm looking at. There we go. Yeah, so I pulled him apart on barycenters because he quite plainly doesn't know about them. He's not commented on the video. He's not done a response video. However, today he released another video entitled Flat Earth Barycenter, brackets, read description. So let's put that on for you. You're going to love this because he's obviously been triggered by this, having had it pointed out that he doesn't know what a barycenter is. So his description says, a barycenter is a mass that moves away from a center point. I wonder. Now that doesn't really bode well, but perhaps his description isn't that good. So let's hear it in his own words.
So what's pretty interesting about this is, alright, let me just start off by saying this. I made this argument over a year ago.
He does that a lot. Like, you poor suckers, you just don't understand what I'm talking about, do you? And if he made this argument about barycenters a year ago, how come he still hasn't even learnt what one is? Do carry on, Anti-Globe.
Anyway, I did make the argument, though. I did have the video. Not of this in particular, but just of the barycenter. You know how I like to be skeptical and question everything? Well, yeah.
Yeah, questioning's one thing, Mr. Anti-G, but when you're told something that you're told you're wrong and it's explained to you, if you still don't understand it, ask. Do some research. Don't pump out crap like you're about to say now.
I did question this. See, the object in the center, instead of being in the center, is orbiting around the center point. This quote-unquote center is intersecting the fucking object in the center.
What that is, Anti-G, where that red cross is, that is the barycenter. Yes, the large object is orbiting around that point, as is the small object.
Right? Yeah? Alright, well, forget about that. That's irrelevant. The object
I just realised I'm not showing you all this, am I? Oh dear. Perhaps we better go back so I can show you the video. I'm so sorry, guys, because I can't see the chat. Oh no, that's my screw up for tonight. So let's go back. I'll let his video just play up until this point.
thing about this is, alright, let me just start off by saying this. I made this argument over a year ago. Anyway, I did make the argument, though. I did have the video. Not of this in particular, but just of the barycenter. You know how I like to be skeptical and question everything? Well, yeah. I did question this. See, the object in the center, instead of being in the center, is orbiting around the center point. This quote-unquote center is intersecting the fucking object in the center. Right? Yeah? Alright, well, forget about that. That's irrelevant.
Well, not really, because you're supposed to be talking about the barycenter.
The object orbiting on the outside doesn't have a barycenter.
Of course it doesn't have a barycenter. It orbits around the barycenter, as does the larger object.
See, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Bitch.
And that's it. That is it. He quite obviously has not the faintest idea what a barycenter is. It just doesn't matter, he says. So you've got the large object apparently orbiting round something, and the smaller object isn't. It just doesn't get it at all. And I so hope that he comes into... I'm just having a quick look. So hope he comes into the Discord to talk about this. If he does turn up, please DM me so I don't miss it. Yes, so intelligent. Oh, what's this? Multi TomTom asking why are Fleur so intelligent. Multi TomTom, look, we have a slot available. Anti-G hasn't turned up. This is your chance. Please come onto my Discord. Link is just below, and go into the live waiting room. As soon as I know you're there, I will bring you into this live chat and we can talk. We can pick any flat earth, globe earth subject you like. Okay? And I will talk with you, and I will talk with you politely. I will not mute you unless you were swearing and running off at the mouth, and that's only so that I could get a word in edgeways. And as long as there's no hate speech, then you are welcome. Okay? This is your chance, once again, to please just come in and have a chat. Defend your case, make your case. Ask me a question, see if I can answer it. I don't guarantee I can. I'd have a good shot, and if I couldn't, I would tell you I can't answer that. That would be really interesting. So come on. You've been invited multiple times, so it'd be good to see you. Let's make sure I've got my sound all set up properly and don't screw up anything else. Sorry about that earlier. Good to see me smiling, someone said. I will just check back in case I've missed. I have indeed. Super chat, Dr. Osiris 99p, a mouth drop emoji. I presume that's the anti-globe guy. Thanks, Doctor. Scroll back. So it's quite a lot of posts I missed while I was talking about all that. I'm sure there's some cracking comments in there. I often will go back and watch a live stream because the guy who does it is brilliant, and then I'll read the chats at the same time. Oh, another one from Dr. Osiris, 99p again, a money smiley face. Do you know, with those super stickers, I like them, but I admit I don't know what they all mean, so I do apologise. Yeah, dollar signs, smiley face. There's an awful lot of chat I missed. And then there was the one from Brainless Steel in Al for £5. So, what's this? Shout me out, you're famous, says Jose. Jose JG Gonzalez in the side chat. There, you've been shouted. And I think, pending either Multi Tom Tom turning up in the live waiting room, or I suppose him submitting his undebunkable video that I've been waiting for since before Christmas. Tom Tom, come on, please challenge me. I don't mind you working on it and it taking a while to pull that perfect video together. That's not a problem, but I do want to see that video to see if I can debunk it, okay? Yeah, so if Tom Tom comes in, or if Anti-Glober turns up, then I guess, having gone through my list of stuff, 30 minutes. Feels like 30 minutes as well, I tell you. Good evening, Bill Devitt. Hello to you. Who else we got? Just Dave, CGI, Forrest Pfeiffer, Onuki, Sabre Legal, Gary Islewight, and plenty more. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we're up to 116 watching. Brilliant stuff. Right, so I think let's get a few people in, giving them fair warning. Hopefully they've been made aware by Colon that while they're sitting in the live waiting room, they could get pulled in at other time, at any time. For those of you who don't know, who haven't sort of been in and had a prod and look around on my Discord, I've got 3 voice channels. I've got the Arena, which is open anytime, day or night, for anyone to voice chat with anyone else. I've got the live waiting room, which can also be used in the same way. However, when on live streaming, as I said, you could suddenly be yanked out of that room without warning and pulled live. So if you just want a general chat, probably best to use the Arena. And then the third voice room is Mr. Sensible Live, which only myself and Colon can get into, and anyone who I drag into it. So it's safe, it's secure, so I use it for private chats when I'm not live. So let's see, who have we got? There's quite a few names I recognise, and a couple that, well, there's one I don't recognise, and one that hasn't been on here for, I'm sure he has been on here before, but I'm going to pull on the one I don't recognise. So this is totally new to me. All I know is a name. So I don't even know, male or female, we shall find out. Let's have a chat and see who is Glass Monster. Glass Monster, hello, good evening, and welcome to you.
Yeah, hello. How you doing, whoever it is?
It's Mr. Sensible, and apparently Glass Monster is a guy. How are you?
Oh, not bad. Are you the one that is on the stream there in the white shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
You're live.
I am.
You are live. Did you not realise that?
Nope.
Yeah, if you sit in the live waiting room, you could be suddenly yanked out. And you were in the live waiting room. I saw a name I'd not recognised before, and I thought, let's give this person a shout. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Don't feel that you have to give out any information you don't want to. If you want to give out your postcode and shoe size, you're welcome to. But I do not want anyone to...
Well, I could give out a size of a certain thing, but you might get jealous.
Oh, I doubt it. You ask Mrs. Sensible.
Your third leg.
So, can I ask, what area of the world do you come from then, Glass?
Oh, Canada.
And do you have a channel?
Glass Monster.
Glass Monster. And what sort of channel is your channel, Glass?
One that hasn't been updated in about 4 years,
Ah.
but it's supposed to be about tube audio and electronics.
So about what and electronics?
Valve audio, tube audio.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 80,000 valves.
What are those ones that they use? I've forgotten the name of them. In those clocks, you know, the ones with the numbers.
No, that's Nixies.
Nixies, yes, because they don't make those anymore, do they? It's only old stock, is my understanding.
There's a couple companies starting to make Nixies now.
Really? Because I've always wanted a Nixie clock.
Oh, I've only got about 20.
I think they're fascinating things. Do the valves in those last very long?
The Nixie tube itself lasts probably about 35,000 hours.
So that's a fair while, isn't it? And I
Yeah, well, you got to remember you're leaving it on 24/7.
Well, yeah.
So
if you want it to be a useful clock, I guess you'd have to.
Well, the display gets left on too, but it is possible to rig up a motion sensor so it only comes on when you move.
I see, but then is the switching it on, switching it off bad for it?
No,
Oh,
because you can completely kill all power to the valves, or Nixie tubes, which is the proper name.
but you see, I thought that things like with what do you call them? With regard to music, valve amps or tube amps, that they work better once they've warmed up.
Yeah, but a Nixie is just a display.
Okay.
You know, it's like your flashlight. You turn your flashlight and it all works fine as soon as you hit the switch.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so you got a channel with sorry, I forget valves and
Mostly valves and audio type stuff.
right. Cool.
I did have a little bit of an argument just recently with Nathan Thompson and
Oh dear. About what? Flat
Flat
valves are flat.
no, Flat Earth.
Did you? What was that? You know, what was the nature of your argument?
You name it. All the nonsense that he could possibly throw at me.
Oh, that'll be a lot. That'll be a lot.
Yeah. Didn't do him any good.
So how
And I
long?
made sure that he couldn't use the video.
Yeah.
I made absolutely certain of that. I was playing modern Disney music in the background constantly.
That's
I
quite
made
clever.
certain that it was current Disney music that was really current, like as in within the last year or 6 months.
So he
I
was
couldn't
busted on the
stand
copyright.
Right. I couldn't stand what was coming out of my stereo, but it was worth it to make damn sure that he couldn't do anything.
Do you know what? That's not a bad idea.
I was cruel.
Go on Nathan Oakley's stream with something like that playing in the background. He
I
probably
would love
wouldn't
it.
realise until he
Bring
you
them
know
back.
got the the thing from YouTube about copyright. That's quite sweet. I'll have
That's
to
cool.
remember that.
Yeah, Disney is definitely not happy with copying their music or using
No.
their music or putting their music over a flat Earth argument.
So
Your
Glass,
chat rate full of Glass Monster responses here.
yeah, I can see. I can see. So Glass, can I ask, what made you suddenly come to this channel tonight? If you didn't know who you're talking to and said, "Are you the guy in the white shirt?" What made
I
you
just
come to
don't-
this channel?
Oh, because I was yapping to Brainless Steel about whatever, and next thing you know, here I am.
I see. Actually, Colon and anyone else who's in the Discord, are you getting Discord? I keep getting Discord blanking out. The sound, excuse me, the sounds continue to come through, but literally the screen goes black on my Discord about once a minute for about 3 seconds. Bit worrying. I hope we don't lose it all. Well,
According to my system, that has nothing to do with a real problem that's going to cause any issues.
well, I hope.
Yeah, I have very high speed active tracking of all data streams, and there's no problem. It is just a little reset that's taking place.
What, on Discord?
Yeah.
I've never noticed it before. I'm noticing it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens once in a while when it's especially more prevalent on Saturdays.
Okay. I guess just due to the load. Well,
I think.
I'm going to bring a couple people in. Let's bring in Brainless and
While you're at it, throw me a mod and I'll put my Discord in the chat because I can't do a link
Well-
until you make me mod.
yeah. What you can do is you can post it in general chat, or one of the two text rooms above, lounge or general chat. And
Yeah, or just make me a temporary mod if you want. Just make me a mod for tonight.
I wouldn't. I don't operate like that. So you can drop it in the lounge or general chat, and Colon or one of the other mods will repost it into the side chat for you, or I will as well. Okay, but please feel free to do that. So let's bring in Brainless Steel. Good evening to you, Brainless Steel.
Hello, Sensible.
How are you?
Yes, it was
How are
good.
you tonight?
Yes,
good.
It was my fault that he dropped in.
All right, I'm also going to bring in Stephen C. Hello, good evening to you, Stephen.
There you go. Look in your lounge. You'll find Glass Monster server join.
Okay, thank you. In the lounge, I'll have to scroll down. Right, so I got it.
I'm gonna have people probably in my chat and on my Discord server that I wouldn't know who the heck they are.
Well, here is Glass Monster's Discord invite, and that's in the chat for anyone who wants to join up. Right, so sorry, where were we? I just invited in because I'll scroll back down. Stephen, yes, how are you, Stephen?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. And what's the weather like, and what time of day is it where you are?
It's very hot. It's like a sauna, and it's about almost 10 to 2. It's a little bit extra, probably 13 to 2.
How hot is very hot?
I think it's about 90.
Yeah, that's hot. Yeah, that's not chilly, is it? I mean, here I think today it's been around 20. It's been quite pleasant actually.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing well, though. You sound good.
Yeah, I feel, thank you. I appreciate that. I feel, in myself, I don't feel really all under the weather like you do with the flu or anything like that. From that point of view, apart from that one night when I was literally talking rubbish, I felt okay. And in fact, the doctor said to me to tell Mrs. Sensible that if ever, and it goes for anyone actually, you're with someone who does start, it's not hallucinating apparently because it's not things you're seeing, but if anyone starts talking gibberish because of temperature or whatever, you should ring emergency services and discuss it. So she's under strict instructions that if that happens to me again. Oh, by the way, Glass.
I know lots of. I know people
apparently
talk
Glass
gibberish all the time.
Well, that'll be the flat earthers. Glass Monster.
Yeah.
Apparently, your invite that you posted has expired.
That's the problem with you step it over like that. That's why they usually don't work when you step them over like that. Usually, you have to take it directly to the.
Well, it's just a Discord invite link, just like I've got under mine.
I wonder why mine didn't work.
Should be okay. It's just literally just.
Because I
oh,
know
right. Well, look, Colon has just posted a link to your YouTube channel anyway, so I'm sure that they can get to your Discord via your YouTube channel. Can they? Do you put
there's no Discord link to it from my channel, but that is my channel. Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess people can ask you.
I just lost my sound.
Have you? And my Discord literally just blanked out again for a second. Can you hear me now, Stephen?
I hear you.
Stephen? Oh dear. What about you?
What?
What about you, Brainless? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How strange.
Puppy.
Sorry, what was that? Funny.
Lounge. Paste.
Right.
Link, and I'm gonna drop a link to his Discord in the thing that will not expire.
How the hell do you do that?
Well, there's types of links. So some are so many uses. Some are time expiry, and some are open invites. I mean, the link to my Discord that's in my description of my videos and streams, that's a permanent invite open to anybody. Brainless has just dropped another. Yeah. Clever, isn't it?
Okay. I just right click, invite people, and then I drop it, and they get the link, and I didn't know it had a time limit on it.
Well, it depends. You can choose different types, or how you generated it.
Yeah, then you got to click under there. There you can edit the link.
Okay.
I got fed up with that. That's why I generated a permanent link, and anyone can come. You know,
Don't
because you can always
ask
boot
me a lot
people if
about
they're a problem.
Yeah, don't ask me too much about modern computers. You'll lose me.
Well, let's also bring in another person. Let's bring in Cheese Mondo. Hello to you.
Jeez.
Hello there.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Not too bad,
Absolutely
thanks.
wonderful.
And whereabouts around the world are you? So we got Canada, we got somewhere very, very hot in the US, I presume, Stephen?
I'm in Colorado, in Colorado,
Oh, that sounds nice.
and it's about 80-something degrees at the moment.
Well, that sounds very nice.
Terrified or Trified 69, Nano, Lock Hero or something? I'm not good at the reading, sorry. And then, of course, that colon one. And now I got Omega Dots.
So what are you talking about?
I see 4 people, or 4 new ones here, has appeared at the bottom of my thing.
Oh, I see, on your Discord.
Like I said, that's one thing I'll butcher is reading names. I'll butcher it thoroughly.
Yeah, well, you
Someone
should
to
try.
butcher your name, give me a try to read it.
You should try a couple of my patrons, including Edwulf Sledgeverter.
Okay. Once I hear it correctly a few times, I'll get it. But
Yes.
I just gotta actually
Yes,
hear it.
but saying it the first time you read, you wouldn't be able to pronounce it based on as it's written. I had to be trained.
Right.
I had to be trained.
Well, Mr. Sensible, we gotta say you always do a great job in pronouncing names.
I tell you what, it's something I enjoy doing. I come across people with lots of names, including quite a few Polish names, and I'm now not bad at that. And quite often, even when I get it a bit wrong, people are usually pleased you've had a good damn try at it. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a second call from a certain friend of mine that was kind of fun. And that
Okay.
happened again today. You know who that was?
No.
The main YouTube Klingon himself, Aaron Raw.
Terabek way Petak. Which is the Earth is not flat, idiot. And I've just had a
Not to my knowledge.
£2 super chat from Tusk. Werewolf sludge farter. Well, I had to read that out, Edwulf, if you ever see that. It's not me badly mispronouncing your name. It's Tusk. So if you need to kill anyone, kill Tusk. Thanks
You
for
ever,
that, Tusk.
you ever tried pronouncing Vietnamese words?
I've not really come across any.
We had a girl that worked at one place, and everybody called her knee, like your body part, your knee.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's actually pronounced using the nasal passage in your nose. It's knee.
Yeah.
It sounds like, but it's actually knee. And as the back of your tongue hits up the top roof of your mouth and the back, you curl it up, and you use your nasal passages to pronounce the word ye. It's really difficult until you get used to it.
I'm sure. Because I know that when I visited family before now in Hungary, they have a big problem with the TH sound in English, like 30. And they just can't say it. It's just not a form of sound that they use in their language. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember one day they were all trying to pronounce her name. Yeah, everybody's going, nee, 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 nee. She comes around the corner and goes, what?
Oh, well, I've just had a message in the chat from Bjorn Kamitz, who says, indeed, Mr. S pronounces my name quite eloquently. Thank you, Bjorn.
Should I open up Patreon for some decent video recording junk so I can actually film a few of my contraptions under repair, build, or modification
So, what do you mean, open up Patreon?
to get myself something to record with, to actually make a few videos of some of my junk being created, modified, or repaired,
Yes, but what do you mean, open up Patreon?
so I can get enough money to buy a camera.
Oh, you mean you want to advertise your Patreon?
Should I actually have a Patreon opened
Oh.
up?
Oh, should you have one? It's going to depend. Oh no, it doesn't depend on subscribers. There's nothing to stop you doing a Patreon from day one.
Yeah.
I
I've
think
always been thinking about
I think
it. But
I think I opened my Patreon at 1,000 subscribers because it just seemed a time to do it for me. You know.
of course, I've always got a PayPal rate directly with my rate. You can find my email in my YouTube channel.
Guys, I'm going to have to give you a heads up. 1 second. Right, yes, a heads up. Because Anti-Globe has arrived and he's sat in the Discord. So I'm going to say, at least for now, to all of you, Brainless Steel, Cheesemondo, Glass Monster and Stephen C, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming. Please stay, and might bring you back later. But Anti-Globe has been invited to come on, so we can have a chat and a debate. Okay. So I'll start dropping you back over to the live waiting room, where you're welcome then to.
Glass Monster is hustling online.
but I'll put you back in the live waiting room, where you're welcome to sit and chat for a while. Okay. So I'll move you back over. Thank you.
Okay.
Fine, I'll tap.
See you later.
See ya. Good. Bye bye, Brainless. So, there we go. Let me bring him in. Hello there, Anti-Globe. Hello, Anti-Globe. Hello. You're here.
Hello.
Hello.
you
Good
hear me?
evening to you. You did get one of my invites. Thank you. That's brilliant. I'm glad you found it because I did post it in several videos.
Right.
I don't know if you, sorry. I guess from time to time we will accidentally talk over each other. It's not intentional. So I've got. I'll put it back up on the screen. I put debate ? Anti-Globe. Nothing formal. We've got nothing organised, have we? It was just an invite, and we can have a chat and just see how it goes. Are you cool with that?
I suppose, but that wasn't the challenge. I challenged anyone to a debate about flat on a globe.
I'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Do you want? I'm just going to adjust your volume up a bit, just to make clear. I have no reason to think you would, but just to make clear, the rules on here is just no gratuitous swearing and no hate speech. Okay, as long as you stick to that, we're golden. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, my language does have swearing, so I can't promise you I'll control that, but.
Well, I'd ask you to try and minimise it, okay?
Okay.
But so what I'll say is, you've obviously got this idea. Sorry, what was it? Flat on a globe? Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I'll give time to you now to basically just try and give us some background or an explanation of what it is. This flat on a globe idea. Okay. So just before we do, though, just say I've just had a super chat from Now Opinion for 25 Swedish krona saying, have a great stream, Mr. S and Anti-Globe. Good night. Good night, Now Opinion. Thank you for coming. Okay, Anti-Globe, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Okay, so the horizon has zero distance, which creates a parabola, no matter the distance to the horizon. On a globe, the horizon would be proportional with the entire globe. It would have a consistent gradient of curvature, and the horizon would have a set distance regardless of the observer. All of our observations show proof of a parabola because there isn't a consistent gradient of supposed curvature. So, and then I have, logic. Like if a sphere touched a surface, it's obviously not going to touch at a single mathematical point. It's going to do so with size. This is going to create a parallel between the sphere and the flat surface, and therefore there will be flatness to every sphere regardless of the sphere size. And this is not only logical, but you can scale a globe model in any 3D program, which I've already had one done over a year ago, and the measurement came out to about 15 miles. That was completely parallel. There was no divergence from any object. and all objects were on this circumference. Even though they were drawn, the distances were drawn from the center to each object, the objects were not diverging away from one another. So I've asked for a fully scaled globe model again, which no one has come forth with, and yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. I mean, I've seen mention of a couple of those things on your channel. And yeah, I'll happily chat to you about those things. And I would also like to add one to that you have had on your channel. I think posted today about barocentres. If you're up to talk about that as well.
I mean, if you want, that's not really my argument. I mean, I chose a barycenter because the closest thing geometrically and physically to describe what I was talking about. I could have just said, you know, a center has size. I mean, that's incorrect as well, right?
Well, I mean, let's cover the things that you wanted to. You know, you're the guest on here, and you've mentioned. Let's see. You mentioned. I'll have to go back to you in a minute about that thing you said about the horizon. But then you said about a sphere touching a flat surface. You mentioned about scaling a 3D model and a full-scale globe model. Okay. So the one that. I guess first, the sphere on a flat. So I know what you're talking. So if you had a flat surface like a table and you placed a ball on it, that's the sort of thing you're talking about, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we can do away with reality because it isn't perfect, and we can picture an idealized world where everything is perfect. And of course, you know, a sphere would have perfect sphericity, and a flat surface would have perfect flatness.
Yep, that would be
so we can do away with.
Yeah.
We can do away with like any indentations that would cause any errors.
Okay, because it's going to depend, isn't it, on the perfection of the sphere and the perfection of the flat surface, because.
Well, actually, it's going to depend on the size of the sphere.
Well, if it was a perfect sphere, I would say, okay, let's say you had a sphere, let's say 1 meter across. And then you had another sphere 1,000 meters across. I would say if it was a perfect sphere and a perfect flat surface, the amount of the two surfaces that touch in both cases would be identical. It would be a point. But
no.
Well, okay.
I would disagree.
You disagree? Okay. Why would you disagree?
Yeah. I would disagree because each sphere has different sides, so they're going to touch the flat surface side. They're not the same size, or they're not a point which has 0 size. So if you're saying that a sphere touches a flat surface at a point, then you're basically saying the sphere doesn't even touch the flat surface.
Well, okay. Now, if I said it touches in the smallest area possible, then I guess you're going to you'd turn around and say, well, if it's an area, then it's a flat area. Is that fair? Is that what you would be likely to say?
It would have to be logically.
Okay, which is why I said it would touch at a point. And the more
which
perfect
is zero,
yeah,
0 size.
Well, it's 0 size. It's.
I mean, if we're being
well, a point is it 0 size? It hasn't got length or width, but it is literally a point.
It's literally considered to have no dimension. So yeah.
Yeah, no X, Y, or Z axis.
It's an arbitrary concept to begin measurements from. So.
But then, even your most perfect sphere is still limited to the size of atoms. So, well, it is, isn't it? Sorry, I just announced.
I mean, you can say that.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I do apologise a second, Auntie G. Just to people who are super chatting, I will have to scroll back at a convenient break and then I'll read super chats, okay? Yeah, sorry, carry on, Auntie G.
Yeah, I have no debate if you want to say that sphere is made of atoms or has size because of the atoms. I'm just saying that when a sphere comes into contact with a flat surface, there's going to be a parallelism between the flat surface and the sphere. Now you can say this happens at a point, well then I would have to say point has size, because that is my whole argument.
Well, I guess the smallest a point could be would be an atom.
Well, again, I'm not going to argue that. I'm just pointing out that there is this flatness to a globe, and that it increases with the sphere's size. So if you started with like a marble and then worked your way up to the sun, the flatness would just continue to get bigger and bigger on the sphere.
Okay, well, let's take that thing as large as a sun, and we'll forget about the fact that it's rather hot and it's gas, but it's an actual sphere the size of the sun. But then you could sort of be walking underneath it with it curving over you, because it's obviously very, very big, and get closer and closer to that point where it's touching your flat surface. Assuming you could get that close, it would still go down to a point if it was if that sun-sized sphere was a perfect sphere.
I'm sorry, what was your claim?
Well, I'm not making a claim. What I'm doing is I'm saying, actually I suppose I'm claiming that the size of the sphere would make no difference. If the sphere is larger, you just have to travel further towards that touching area to find that it's still just a point. If you laid down on your side, you could almost look under it, but there would just be that point where it's touching.
Right. Okay, so if you had a marble and it touched the flat surface, and say it did this at, a size greater than absolute zero, that size, whenever you scale it up, it's just going to continue to get larger. Now, nothing's going to change. For every sphere, it's going to be the same, but it's going to pertain to whatever size the sphere is. So the larger the sphere, the larger the flatness. The smaller the sphere, the smaller the flatness. And that's how it's going to work. It isn't just continue to point at a single point, or an atom, or zero dimensions, zero size. It has to, by logical deduction, touch the flat surface at a size greater than absolute zero, or a size greater than an atom. Because it dictates, it necessitates that the larger the sphere, the larger the flat surface. It's not going to stay the same size.
But you've not demonstrated a flat surface with a marble or a larger sphere.
But I have with logic. You cannot take a sphere which has size and make it touch a flat surface with zero size.
What do you mean with logic? How have you shown this? I appreciate we're not looking at your video right now, but if you can just give us an idea of this explanation, because I failed to see why. If you move a sphere and put it against, in fact, that's not a bad way of looking at it. You're holding this sphere of whatever size, lowering it down. The moment it touches, it's on that surface.
Does a bowling ball touch a bowling alley?
Does it touch the floor? The floor of the alley?
Does it just touch it? Yeah.
Yes, of course it touches it. Yes.
And if we increase the bowling ball size, would you think it would touch the bowling alley more?
No, it would still touch the same size.
Why wouldn't it?
Sorry.
Why wouldn't it?
Because you've got the. Okay. Let's say, just for the sake of argument, that you're talking about an area touching that flat surface. There is a centre to that area, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there's a centre.
There's a centre to that area. We'll just assume for a second it's a little circle that touches. As you move away from the centre of that circle, the sides of the bowling ball curve up, don't they? Obviously, because it's a sphere. Now, forget about your circle. You've still got that centre point, which is where it's touching. Immediately, it starts curving up. It doesn't have to go along flat for a while before it starts curving up. Because otherwise you would feel on that bowling ball, you could feel that those various flats, and there aren't. It's one smooth curved surface. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
it's not like if it was a bag of peas, a spherical bag of, or like a bean bag. When you put that on the floor, it obviously squishes down. The bottom of it is flat. But a solid sphere doesn't deform, so it can't bend so that it's flat at the bottom. Unless it was an
doesn't.
inflatable one.
So you're just assuming that the sphere is bending to conform with the flat surface, but it's not. You have to acknowledge the fact that there was already flatness to the sphere to begin with.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise the two surfaces wouldn't even be able to rest with one another or to touch one another.
But then, in that case, let's say you had the marble you're talking about and rolled it along, then a larger sphere wouldn't roll along smoothly. It would go as it goes over all those flats.
Why would it do that?
Well, if
it's the same as the smaller sphere, it's just larger.
But if it's a larger sphere and you're saying more of it is flat, then as it changes from one flat to the next flat to the next, in fact, it would have to be a constant change of flats, wouldn't it?
But it keeps its sphericity, though, doesn't it?
So, okay, if you exaggerated it, imagine it, would it be like a hexagon? So it goes from one side of the hexagon to the next, but much smaller sides. I don't know what that would be, an almost infinitagon. Is it like that? Or are you saying the flat area changes all the time? Do you see what I mean?
How could a sphere touch a flat surface? I mean...
Well, if you drop a bowling ball...
What is it? Is it just hovering above the flat surface?
No.
Not actually touching it?
No, it is touching it.
Okay, so there is a parallel nature between the sphere and the flat surface.
What do you mean a parallel nature?
Well, in order for them to touch, I mean, the sphere can't, what would it have to do? Become flat, right? It would have, or convex?
No, why would it need to become flat?
Or maybe the flat surface would have to concave in order to conform with the, I mean...
Why would the surface have to concave? If you took a cube and you took and tried to bounce it on its corner, on the point, does that point touch the flat surface?
Yes.
Yeah. So instead of a cube, what about something like a dodecahedron, something with more sides? Okay, you could sit it there on one of its flat sides, but you could also, if you were very good, bounce it right on the point. The point is touching.
Right, except a sphere isn't a triangle or whatever shape you said. It doesn't have a sharp point. It has smooth edges.
Smooth, yeah, smooth all the way round. There are no flats.
Right.
There are no flats.
Then how does it touch the flat surface?
Well, we've already established that.
Is there not a parallel nature between the point and the flat surface?
I'm not sure quite what you mean, because if you took a cube, you could sit it down on a flat surface, or you could try and bounce it along one edge on the flat surface, or even bounce it on one of the corners on the flat surface. In all three cases, the cube is touching the flat surface. With one, with one, it's touching with its whole face. With another, a whole length, an edge, and with the final example, just the very, very, very point of the corner.
So there's no parallel nature between an object that touches flat. Is that what you?
I think you better explain what you mean when you say a parallel nature.
Well, in order for something flat to touch something else, doesn't that something else have to, by logical deduction, flat as well?
Well, we're talking about a flat surface, and I guess a perfect cube. Then that face of that perfect cube would lay perfectly flat on a flat surface, or the edge.
So you're also talking about balancing.
Yeah. If you then tilted it along one edge, then that the very edge of the cube, then along its length, that thin line is also pressed and resting on that perfectly flat surface. Then if you tilted it up again, so it's on its corner, then it's just that very, very tiny point of the corner. In all those three cases, something is touching a flat surface. And if you had a sphere, You haven't got a flat surface to touch it. You haven't got a linear edge. You only have the point, which is why, unless that surface is perfectly flat and level, it will go rolling around like crazy.
Well, a sphere isn't a cube's
No.
corner.
No, a sphere isn't a cube. No.
All right, so I said this, and I think you mocked it in your video.
Okay,
can take-
okay. What I will say, Anticlobe, is I do do some gentle teasing and mocking, and hey, I've seen some of your videos, and you say things as well, and I hope that I've got a thick skin and that you've got a thick skin, and I hope you.
No, I was just describing. It's no problem.
Okay, because there is. I'll be clear. There is no hate coming from my way. Okay. And I hope you can tell that because I'm having a nice friendly chat with you.
Yeah, it's all right.
Cool. Okay, so you're saying in my video.
Yeah, in your video, you laughed at the fact that I was claiming there is a triangle that forms from the center of a sphere before or a circle before the circle is formed.
Yes.
There's a triangle. You obviously disagree with.
Yeah, well, you drew two lines from the centre of the circle out, which, yes, do diverge and will diverge forever, of course.
Right.
But
I'm not disagreeing that they diverge. I'm just saying that before there's ever a curve between these 2 points, there has to be a triangle by necessitation.
Why?
If you what do you mean why? It's
Well-
just simple geometry. If you took the radius and you were able to split the radius in half, what shape would that?
What do you mean split the radius in half?
What I mean is separate split one radius and then separate it, like give an
What?
equal amount of distance on both sides.
What do you mean, like a pair of scissors opening them up? No, I'm not mocking you. I'm just trying to get what you say. Okay, let's take a circle. I draw a line from the very centre of the circle to the 12 o'clock
Right.
position. 12 o'clock position.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then
Now I just want to split those at the circumference, like just separate them with as little distance as you possibly can.
what? So I draw a second line, so it's right close to the first line.
Okay, how about instead of drawing the line to 12 o'clock, we draw two lines on each side of 12 o'clock?
Okay.
From the centre.
1 minute to and 1 minute past, that sort of thing.
Or 1 millisecond.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, very, very close to 12 o'clock, and yeah. Right. So carry
Right.
on.
All right, so you're saying that this wouldn't form a triangle.
Well, if you drew a line between so you got the points in the centre where the two lines start, and they go out to the circumference. If you then joined the tops of those two lines, that would with a straight line, that would be a triangle. However, what we've got is two lines out to the circumference of a circle. You could take any.
So you're saying
Well, if I've just
Sorry,
finished my.
sorry.
That's all right. I'll finish my point. If you took one of those lines and swung it around the centre, like the hand on the clock, that would swing in a perfect arc all the way around the circle until it then met the other line and went past it again. You're just talking two lines, and they're not real lines. It's just a measurement from the very, very centre of your circle to the circumference. That's all a radius is.
correct. I'm not debating any of that. I'm just trying to point out to you that there is a planar nature circumference here using simple geometry. Like
Yeah, but if
we can take those same two lines and try to get as close together as possible. Are you trying to say that there's always an arc between those two lines, no matter what?
Well, if you started with a blank sheet of paper, put a dot in the middle of it, drew a line out, let's say 10 centimetres long, and then drew another line out from that centre dot, the same 10 centimetres long but slightly to the left, then you have just a V shape. And open.
A triangle.
Well, you've got a V shape, haven't you? You've got two lines coming from a point, diverging very, very slightly. At the top, it's open. So you have an option.
Divergence doesn't mean curvature.
No. Right now we got nothing other than two lines that are joined like a V, a very, very narrow V. So if you leave it open, that's all you've got. If you drew a line between the two of them, the top of the two of them, then yes, you've got a triangle. But in the case of the Earth, or the circle that we're talking about, you've just got two lines. There is already the circumference, the arc that goes between the two of them. If you could take one line and then literally just swing it a bit. The very end would follow the circumference in an arc.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it doesn't create a perfect sphere or a perfect circle or whatever. I'm just trying to get you to follow the logic, like where there would be a planar surface.
But I'm saying
so,
Gaudence Riber says draw it, Mr. Sensible. Unfortunately, I'm not set up for doing drawing on live streams. Actually, I have just ordered a graphics tablet, which I hope to be able to hook up to be able to do drawings real time in live streams. But right now I can't. AG or Anti, or do you have another name that you'd prefer to be called? I didn't actually ask you. I do for
that's fine.
Anti. Okay. So if I think it's a difference between taking a line from the center, that center dot, 10 centimeters long. Then you have two options. You either then draw a second line that is veered away from it, and then it's up to you how you join the tops. You could join them with a straight line unless you have a triangle, or you can just take your first line, and if it was fixed in the center, if you swung it around, the very, very end would draw you a circle. So if you only drew halfway round, you'd end up with a semicircle, i.e. a long curve from the end of one line to the end of the other. If you drew quarter of the way round, you end up quarter of a circle with an arc. And if you'd swung it only a millisecond around that clock, then you still got a very, very short arc. It's very, very short and hard to see, but it'd be there. It's not a straight line.
I don't know about that. I would disagree. I think scale is an important factor here, and trying to measure something so tiny to us, it costs. But if we could use something larger, I don't know, the Earth. Well,
okay.
It would be much.
Let's use the Earth.
Easier.
Let's use the Earth. And if we took.
All right, so.
Oh, go on.
So on the Earth.
Go ahead.
So on the Earth, do you believe that anything straight exists?
What do you mean? Does anything straight exist?
Perpendicular to the Earth's surface.
Perpendicular, yes, to the Earth's surface. That would be following the lines of gravity. So if you could stick a pole in the ground and it's absolutely vertical, it is perpendicular to the Earth's surface. It is plumb. If you dropped an item, if it was a hollow pole, if you dropped a ball bearing straight down the middle, it would follow the line of gravity straight down and then hit the floor at inside the pole at the bottom.
So
that's plumb.
All right, I keep saying so.
That's okay.
An object with size, right, is what you're saying. An object with size is falling straight down to the center of the Earth.
Yes. Any object would fall, leaving aside wind blowing anything. If you just dropped an object, it will accelerate at 9.8 meters per second towards the center of the Earth until it hit the Earth.
So does only the center of that object accelerate?
The whole object accelerates.
The whole object accelerates.
Yes.
So would you consider anything parallel about any object that falls to the Earth?
One object.
Yeah, any object. Would you consider there any sort of parallel aspect?
I don't know what you mean, a parallel aspect. I mean, I could take this coffee cup. If I drop it, it will, no matter which way I turn it, if I let go and didn't give it a twist as I would let go, as long as I let go cleanly, it will fall absolutely vertical.
Right, every bit of it.
Every bit of the cup, yeah. The handle doesn't go in a different direction. It might go in different directions once it hits the floor and smashes, but on its way down.
So vertical lines straight down that are parallel with one.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Vertical lines consisting of every bit of the cup
Yes.
that are parallel with.
Yeah, I suppose if I took that and filmed it in slow motion, then I could draw a line from one lip of the cup, the bottom of the cup, the handle of the cup, and if I drew that same point on every frame as it fell, each of those would be absolutely parallel and absolutely plumb, falling straight down towards the centre of the Earth.
So, why would you disagree that there's flatness on a globe?
What's that got to do with flatness on a globe, or the shape of the Earth? Actually, there's gravitational attraction. My whole object that I let go falls straight down.
This involves the shape of the Earth because, I mean, there's obviously claiming things about the Earth that they have no clue about. So, if there's flatness to a globe and everyone's just curving everywhere, then a lot of things are wrong, right? Like, for instance, observations of the horizon.
Well, we can move on to the horizon in just a second. But what I would say is, when I'm holding that cup 4 foot in the air, it doesn't care if this particular area, if my floor is absolutely flat, or if it's, let's say, a grassy field and there's lumps and bumps. It doesn't care.
But you're forgetting that you're claiming a center point with zero size is causing objects to fall toward it. Whenever you observe objects falling toward the ground, though, they just fall completely vertical.
Actually, let me be pedantic and
convergent.
Well, I was going to say, let me be pedantic and try and be very clear. It depends on the local area of gravitational attraction, which generally is going to be exactly straight down. But if you have a huge mass nearby, a thing like a mountain actually has some gravitational attraction. So although that cup, when I let go, will go straight to the centre of the gravitational attraction, it may not be, because I don't want to confuse the issue, but it may not be quite as vertical as it is in another area where you haven't got a mountain with that gravitational attraction also pulling the cup slightly sideways. But I mean, we're talking about such minuscule amounts you could barely measure it. So perhaps we better even forget about that. Basically, you drop a cup, it will go straight down.
All right, so let's move on to
horizons.
Maybe like a small scale construction site.
Oh, okay. What, like a house or a block of flats, or a skyscraper or something like that?
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So would you consider that to be flat on a globe?
Well, when they're constructing it, they'll make the foundation. Well, the foundations. I guess the actual what do you call it? The piles that they drive in may actually go down to slightly different depths depending on the material in the ground beneath them. But they will make a level so that the bottom basement, can have a level floor. They don't sit it on the earth; it's sort of built into it, and they'll make the very bottom, level. You think if you pour concrete, it'll form around the lumps and bumps of the underlying dirt and rock that's been compressed, and the top of it will end up as a flat surface. Yes.
So yes, there is flat on a globe.
Well, you've made a flat area.
I didn't make the flat area.
No.
The
You,
globe,
the general.
The globe made the flat area.
Okay, you build a house on a hillside. Okay, there are houses that are built onto fairly steep roads.
Regardless of
yeah, but what I'm saying is, with the topography of a hill, you build a house on it, you will still make that floor flat and level. It'll cut into the hillside slightly. They'll actually have to change. You know, the area isn't flat. You've just made a flat base for your house to sit on.
Do you think a horizon has zero distance?
Okay, so you want to move on to horizons, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So do I think what?
The horizon has zero distance.
Zero distance.
You're saying you're on a sphere, right? So everything is curving.
Yes.
No such thing as flat. Everything has 0 point here and there, or a single point here and there. Correct?
Well, yes, we live on a sphere. It's not a perfect sphere, obviously, but for the sake of argument, I'm happy to assume a perfect sphere. You're stood Now your feet aren't balls, but your feet are flat and they'll conform to shape. If you're on lumpy, bumpy ground, your foot will conform. You're stood there on a sphere, right? Okay. So, are you saying the horizon is a zero distance away? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just what I observe and what
do you mean?
the
you observe?
definitions are. Well, that's what I've seen in observation, where the horizon present and an object is obstructed by it or becomes obstructed by it.
How tall are you?
There's zero.
How tall are you, Auntie?
I'm 6'1".
Okay, so 6'1". So if you're stood there and I place a football 6 feet away from you, you're in the middle of a football pitch. If I play or a soccer pitch, whichever, if I place a football 6 feet away from you, can you see that ball?
Wait, what?
Okay, you stand in the middle of a large plain. Okay, open desert, no
Okay.
hills, no gullies or anything. You're just there, flat. I won't use that. An even surface. Okay, and I place a ball on the floor 6 feet away from you. Can you see it? A football? Yes, of course you can, because there's nothing in the way. If I place, assuming your eyesight's good enough, if I placed it a mile away, could you see it? There's nothing in the way, is there?
You cut out. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said. I said if I placed that ball a distance of a mile away, you've got very good eyesight. You could still see that football. Might be very, very small, but you could still see it.
What distance did you place it?
Well, a few hundred yards. It's a bright yellow ball, so there's no problem with it blending in or anything.
I mean, well, it depends, right? I guess.
On what? I'm saying your eyesight
On
is
angular resolution and all that.
okay. Yeah, actually it does. But let's say your eyesight is brilliant. Okay, you've got perfect eyesight. We can make it a large ball. Let's say it's the size of a car. Okay, so that sort of size ball, and I place it a mile away. Can you see it?
I guess I don't know.
Well,
I mean, what's the relevance?
I'm getting that. The point is, nothing is in the way. There's no buildings, no trees, no mountains, nothing. It's just on that surface a mile away from you. You can still see it. As it gets further and further away, it appears smaller and smaller. That's perspective, and you're quite right. Eventually, that ball, whether it's the size of a football or a car, will get so far away that angular resolution comes into it. Although if you then grabbed yourself a pair of binoculars to enlarge what you can see, you could still see it because it's still in view. Yeah. Eventually, even with a powerful telescope, if I kept moving it further and further away, it would reach the point where it finally starts disappearing past the horizon. At first you could see all of it, and as it gets further and further away, the bottom of it disappears, then half of it, then 3/4, until eventually it totally disappears behind the horizon. So that is your horizon distance. Now, if there was no atmosphere to cause any distortion, which unfortunately there always is, then you can calculate that distance. I'm trying to think of the formula. It's the height of the observer height in feet. Crumbs, I can't remember it, but you can calculate it because of the angle. You can physically see so far before it is round the geometric curve of the horizon. Because if it was on the other side of the sphere, you couldn't see it, obviously. That's way too far. If it's a quarter of the way round, it's still too far. But when it's, I think, is it about 1.22 miles if you were at 1 foot, 6 foot tall, I don't know what it is, 5 or 6 miles.
I think that's what people are claiming. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a physical, geometric impossibility. If it was round a corner or round a curve, you could no longer see it. So you do have issues with atmosphere. It's always refracting and bending the light slightly. Normally, you wouldn't really notice it. Occasionally, you get days when the refraction is high, so you can see that bit further, or very low, and you can see that bit less. And that's that whole black swan thing with the. Have you seen that black swan image with the platforms on the sea?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where that whole argument comes in. And someone's just given me the formula. It's 1.2 times the square root of your height in feet. So if your eyes are 6 foot high, square root of that times 1.2 will give you how many miles to the physical geometric horizon. So,
Right.
so
I'm not
basically,
talking about
we talked a long way. So basically, I'm saying, you say about the horizon. I'll say that there's a physical horizon a couple miles away.
I don't care if it's physical, apparent, whatever. I'm just
Okay.
saying the
the
distance to the
horizon.
horizon.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
The distance to the horizon is not the distance of the horizon.
What do you mean then?
All right, so if there's flatness on a globe, it would necessitate that a horizon has distance. Not just that there's distance to the horizon, but on the horizon, objects would be subject to that.
Are you envisaging, because these flatnesses of which you speak, would they be circles? Or don't you know?
They would follow the circumference of the Earth proportionally with the curvature.
So,
How
are you thinking then that the horizon, if you're stood in the middle of one of these flatnesses, the horizon is where the edge of that flatness is?
Well, you can stand. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you stand. I don't know where the horizon would be I've never seen that. The scaled model I did receive by someone did not show me where the horizon would be. It only showed me about 15 miles, and the tangent line was 90 degrees to each object. So I have no idea. I cannot make any definitive claims about where the horizon or where you would be standing or anything like that. I just know.
All right, no definitive claims about exact distances, but I get the impression, if you just assume, just for the sake of argument, that we were talking about a hexagon again. I know you're not saying it's like a hexagon, but are you saying that the horizon is the equivalent of the one of those corners, one of those edges of the hexagon, and that would
One
be
of
the
those
horizon?
flat.
So you're right. You're stood on the top flat side of the hexagon, and your horizon would be that angle where it changes to the next flat side. Is that the sort of thing you're talking about? But a lot more flats.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Then I'd have to say no, because the horizon, in effect, the horizon on our perfect sphere with no lumps and bumps, mountains and dips, if you're stood with your feet on the floor, the horizon would be, let's say, 3 miles away. If you were like Superman and could just float up to a couple of 100 feet, that horizon would be slightly further away. And if you went up to 1,000 feet, it would be further away still, and keep going. That circle will get bigger and bigger. You can see further and further
Right,
around.
I'm not disagreeing with that either.
Okay.
I'm just saying that the horizon, at the horizon, there would be distance. The fact that there isn't any distance means that it's not even part of the curvature of the Earth. Have you seen the Lake Pontchartrain power line?
I certainly
image?
have. Yes, long time since they've come up, but yes, I've seen them.
Okay, so you can tell in this image that there's not a perfect curvature above the horizon. In fact, there's straight lines before and after the horizon as well. It's not even following a curvature.
So
But the fact that it's above the horizon, you can tell that this is not, there's no distance to the horizon. As soon as the objects hit the horizon, they begin to deviate.
I really,
How does
again,
that-
I don't know what you mean. I can see what you mean in that in the photo it isn't a perfect curve because you're not looking at them from side on, you're looking along the length of them. So at first they appear to be going away from you, and then just at the end there's like a dip down. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no, just at the horizon, there's a dip down. Right? As soon as the power lines hit the horizon, they begin to deviate. There's no distance, and then the objects begin to dip down as soon as they hit the horizon.
Well, no. I'd have to say you've got power line number one, or power the mast number one nearest you of a certain height, and if the Earth was flat, then each one, as it gets further away, assuming they're all at equal distance from each other, will proportionally be smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You could draw a straight line along the top of every single one of those.
That's angular size, though, right?
Yeah, well, that's perspective, isn't it? So if something is twice the distance, it's half the size, that sort of thing. But what we're also talking about is the limits of the photograph, because he did use some sort of zoom to accentuate it. But you've also got the limits of your computer if you were drawing a line across the top, because you've got pixel size. So the first, you join the tops of the first two with a line. The third one actually will be slightly lower because of curve, but it'll be less than a pixel, so you wouldn't see it. The next one would be still less than a pixel. So at first the differences don't show up, but they're cumulative. Each one is, slightly lower than you expect because of the curve, and it's cumulative. That's why people use that 8 inches per mile squared thing as a guideline.
It should be proportional, though.
On a flat surface, it should be exactly proportional. On a curved surface,
on a globe, it's proportional.
Well, you've got two things. You've got the fact that a further pylon, that's the word I was searching for, a further pylon is proportionally, or appears visually proportionally smaller, but also you've got to add to that, not only is it smaller, but you're also adding that there's a bit of curve, which makes it lower. Then the next one is smaller still, and it's got the first one's drop.
Even perspective.
Well, you've got a combination of two.
You remain proportional.
Yeah, perspective would on a flat surface, yes.
Even on a globe.
Well, no, because as you get further around,
the objects would just continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller as they follow the geometry of the sphere.
They'll get smaller and smaller and smaller as they're further away from you, but also at the same time they appear to drop more and more and more. So it's not just they've all dropped by an inch. The first one, for instance, let's say is dropped, or the third one is dropped by an inch. The one after that is dropped by another inch, so that's 2. The one after that, another inch, or an inch and a bit. And so each one doesn't just drop 1 more inch, it drops an inch and a bit, an inch and a bit more, an inch and a bit more, and a bit more, but it adds up. It's an accelerating thing. So basically, as you get to the far end, they're dropping faster and faster. Actually, if you're all right, Antiglobe, what I'd like to do is I'll just scroll back, because I've got it's a long way. There's a couple of super chats I'd just like to read out if it's going to.
Yeah, go ahead, that's fine.
Except it's not going to. Hold on, it's not letting me scroll back all that way. Try on this one. I've never noticed this before. Is there a maximum to how far back we can scroll on chat? If there is. Oh gosh, there is. Guys, I know that a couple of people are giving me super chats, and as you're aware, I don't get feedback from Streamlabs about super chats in my broadcast software because it's broken, and I've left it too long. They've disappeared off the top of the chat. Now, if anyone knows what those super chats were, perhaps you can let Colon know so he can DM me, and I will read the DMs, because my apologies. I did not mean to, I really thought I could go back right to the beginning of the stream if necessary. So I've missed those. I apologise. So what I'll say, Auntie, is if more super chats come in, I'll try and read them a bit more promptly, just so that these... Surf, yes, I can go into my dashboard. I'll try and do that while we continue to chat. Right, okay, so I was explaining that it's an accelerating thing, Antti. So do you want to respond to that while I try and load up my Streamlabs?
Sure.
So how do you think it works with the pylons?
It's what?
With the Lake Pontchartrain pylons, how do you think it works? Because you said they just drop at the horizon. I'm saying that they drop all the way along. It's just the drop you see at first is minuscule, and every one drops a little bit further. So it's additive. So it gets greater and greater. So by the time that you reach the end, it's exponential, not quite exponential, but do you know what I mean? It suddenly rushes away. I'm hoping I can see these super chats now. Donations. They've changed.
Well,
Yeah,
I think that the curvature should be consistent. You know, it should have a gradient. It shouldn't just suddenly drop at a certain distance.
Well, it doesn't. It's just that at a
It
short
does,
distance. Well, at a short distance, the drop is very, very tiny. You see what I'm saying? You think
At
of
a short
you think of a curve. You think of a ball. You're stood on the top of the ball, a very large ball. If you take one step forward, that surface is, let's say, dropped 1 foot. If you took another step forward, it's dropped not just another foot, otherwise that would be a diagonal slope down. It's dropped a foot and a bit. You just take the next step, and it's suddenly dropped 3 foot. You know, that next step. The one after that, it's getting really steep now. It's dropped 7 feet, and so on, until eventually you're reaching the sort of 3 o'clock position, and as you step, you're dropping straight vertical. Do you see what I mean? It's accelerating. It's
exponential in reality.
Yes,
But
yes,
on a
exponential.
globe,
So
on a globe, it's proportional with the curvature. Like everything, all right, a circumference has a set distance, right? So every sector of that circumference has a set distance, right?
yes.
Okay, so why would there be an immediate drop then?
What do you mean? An immediate?
An immediate declination at the horizon.
It's not at the horizon. What the horizon? The horizon is the distance you can see before the ball itself gets in the way. Obviously, if you're stood at 12 o'clock position, you're not going to be able to look forward or even look downwards and see 6 o'clock position, because that's right under your feet. You're not going to be able to see 4 o'clock position because 3 o'clock position is in the way. You probably can't even see 3 o'clock. You'll only perhaps be able to see till, I don't know, 1:30, that sort of thing, because then the curve is in the way. Unless the light is bending round, you're not going to see past that. That is your horizon.
Yeah, we're just not taking into consideration relative scale.
Scale makes
So
no,
I gotta
no difference.
I gotta go in like 5 minutes. So
Have you? Okay. Well, listen. What I will say, Auntie G, is thank you very much for coming, for trusting me, and you haven't sworn once, and I think been having an interesting chat. And if you'd like to, perhaps you come on my Discord. You can drop me a DM, and so I can contact you. Perhaps we can arrange a formal debate.
I wasn't prepared for this.
No.
I just saw that you were live.
Yeah, no,
And-
I fully respect that, which is why I did say right at the beginning it wasn't a formal debate. And if you want to have a formal debate, and we can pick 2 or 3 topics each, so that you know, and obviously I'll tell you what my topics are, you tell me what yours are, and we can both prepare. Would you be up for that?
Sure.
Cool. Well, that's great. That would be really good. I would like to do that, and we can cover some of your other things. Perhaps when you said about a full-scale model, a scale 3D model. As
Yes,
I said,
I'm waiting on if anyone would do that. I mean, that would be great if they could create a 1-to-1 animated globe model, or even just the circumference of the globe model. would do, place the objects, you know, like a circle in a 2D program.
A one-to-one model? You mean it's the size of the Earth?
What I mean by one-to-one is like it's based on perspective, right? That's what scale is, or based on it's relative to distance. So if we get closer to an object, it's considered one-to-one, correct?
Not really. If
we're far away from an object, how would you consider scale then?
Okay, if I've got this cup and I drew it on paper, exactly the same height, the same diameter.
Paper is finite. Paper is a finite.
No, but what I'm
material,
saying, I'm talking about scale. Okay, if I've got this cup and I draw right next to it a plan of this cup, and it's exactly 10 centimeters tall and 5 centimeters wide, exactly as the cup is, that is one-to-one scale. If I draw it and it's 10 centimeters tall, but I draw it 5 centimeters tall and 2.5 centimeters wide, then that's a 2-to-1 scale.
And how would you compare that to the cup?
What do you mean? If it is exactly to scale, I could, for instance, on my drawing, measure the width of the handle and know that it's a 2-to-1 scale, and this handle is measuring as a quarter of a centimeter thick. It's 2-to-1. Therefore, I know that the real handle is half a centimeter thick. That's what scale is.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Well, perhaps it's something for another day.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I'm happy to talk longer if you've got time, Auntie, but I do appreciate you said you...
Let me just get this last thought out.
Yeah.
My idea of scale, though, is like if you have a screen and, you know, you have something to scale on the screen, and then you use something, you know, in reality, like say there's a 1-foot object on the screen, and you took a 1-foot, like, ruler, obviously, and put the ruler up next to it, and they were identical. Would that not be a one-to-one?
If you had a drawing of a ruler on the screen, 1 foot long, and you held a 1-foot ruler up to it, then that drawing on the screen is a one-to-one scale. Yes.
And if we zoom out,
then you haven't changed the. Yeah,
no longer one-to-one.
Zooming
right?
in or out. You mean like with Google Earth, when you zoom in?
Right. Well, Google Earth isn't really going to represent what I'm asking for.
No, but I'm talking about the technique. So you're hovering over Google Earth and you can see it as a complete sphere of the Earth, but then you zoom in on the US, zoom in further on Arizona, zoom in further on Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix. Do you mean that sort of thing? So you want a model that you can look more and more closely at?
Yeah, even bring it with a potential to bring it one-to-one.
Well, one-to-one would mean you'd have to be able to zoom in so that you could see each individual. Well, your screen. Let's say your screen is 2 foot wide, then on a one-to-one scale, you'd be able to see objects that are 2 foot across. I can understand.
Correct.
When you zoom out, you could see the whole Earth, but if you want to zoom in so that you could see things on a one-to-one scale, that's like, I mean, you think...
I just want that potential. So.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get it, because you think Google Earth, the amount of data that they've gathered from satellite imagery, and yet if you zoom in, the closest you can zoom in... Well, the closest you can zoom in is you might be able to make out large vehicles from Google Earth. So it's not a one-to-one scale, not by a long chalk. So you'd have to have a super Google Earth so that you could. I mean, the amount of data that would.
Why would you need a super Google Earth? Why wouldn't you just need a larger screen?
Well, it doesn't matter if you use Google Earth on your phone or on a big screen. Well, actually, no, that doesn't make sense. If you use Google Earth on your phone and zoomed in as close as you can on your house, it will still look as a little blurry dot. Now, if you used a computer with a projector onto a large projector screen, looked at that same bit of Google Earth at your house, zoomed in, it will still be a blurry blob. It will just be a bigger blurry blob. You're not going to see more data than there is there. If you want to be able to zoom in,
But the scale does change though when you change.
it's the same scale. You're just enlarging what you're looking at.
Not to the observer. To the observer, it can become 1-to-1, even though it's a blurry blob. It can be the size of the house.
Well, if you had a screen that was as big as your house, and then zoomed in on Google Earth so that bit of Google Earth filled the entire screen.
What if you just wanted an eighth of your house and just zoomed in on an eighth?
Then you'll need a screen. You'd need a screen that's 8 times bigger than your house. But the data isn't there, because all they've got stored is a blurry blob representing your house. If you want to zoom in so you could see tiles and that, they would have to have the data to map the imagery of all the tiles. Do you see what I'm saying? You're asking the impossible because they have not got that amount of data.
Well, I don't want Google Earth or pictures or anything like that. I just want it very simple: a sphere, some objects, set distances or whatever, known distances. Just something transparent that represents what people believe.
You mean like a wireframe model?
Sure. I don't know what that is, but
well, you know, when they're doing the animations and they start off just with the outline lines and then they colour it in. So if it was an image of a cube on the sphere, you would literally just see the lines of a cube, no coloured in faces. Is that the sort of thing? That would be a wireframe model.
Anything that's simple to do, I'm not asking.
Well, I think you're actually asking. I think, with all due respect, you're probably asking the impossible, because that would be a multi-million-dollar undertaking. I think to be able to have an equivalent to Google Earth to scale the Earth 1-to-1. You'd have to have enough data to represent every data.
It doesn't have to be 1-to-1. It just has to have the potential to be 1-to-1. That way, everything is accurately represented. Everything becomes transparent. There is no deceiving the observer.
Well, do you think that something like Google Earth is trying to deceive you, or deceiving you, even if it's not deliberate?
I don't think Google Earth is trying to do anything.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, it's not something we can compare data to, like our observations, because if you try to use Google Earth for that, it's just going to give you street views or something like that.
Right. Because you think of a digital photograph. If you zoom in onto a digital photograph, the face starts to fill the screen. You zoom in a bit more and you get a close-up of the nose and eyes, but there's a little bit of fuzziness. As you zoom in further, you just end up with a pixelated image, because that's the limit of the data. It's the same with something like Google Earth. Okay, they've got a lot of data, but their limit would be down to about the size of a car would be a pixel or two. So the data just is not there. Actually, Antiglobe, can I ask you a question? Right?
Sure.
Are you Nathan Thompson?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay. It's just that you. I mean, a lot of people have said, and actually, I can totally see it. Your voice is just very, very similar, extremely similar.
Yeah.
Maybe you come from the same part of the world. Sorry, you've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So questions answered, people. This is not Nathan Thompson. Okay. All right. Well, you said you had to run. I do want to thank you, and I mean that honestly, Antiglobe, for coming in. And yes,
yeah, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You have been a perfectly polite guest here, so no issues at all. And I would be happy to, if we can organise a formal debate and we cover some agreed topics and we can both prepare. Okay?
Sure.
Cool. So I'm not going to say a win or a lose or anything like that. This was just a friendly chat, as I had offered on your comments of your videos. All right?
All right.
Okay, cool. But I will say, you put out videos, I will still try and rip them to bits, okay? But you're welcome to try and do the same to me. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. All right, well, good to meet you. Thank you very much. And see you again sometime, all right?
Yeah, you too.
Cool. I'm going to drop you in the live waiting room and you can disconnect from there. Cheers. Take care. Well, there we go. We have had Anti-Globe on here. I'm still struggling to get my what do you call it, Streamlabs things going, because it's an issue with accounts. I'm going to try and hope I don't break everything. I've just signed out of Google. Is the live stream still going? Good. I'll now try and go into the Streamlabs, because it doesn't always let me connect to the right account. So I'm hoping that this will let me log in properly, because whoever it was is quite right. It should have my super chats, and then I can read them out. Just hoping it does. I very rarely come in here to trying to find the darn things. Donation history. Super chats. Nothing. Apparently there are no super chats. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I'll have to give that a miss. I can't spend all evening trying to sort that out. So I'll quickly scroll back to see if there's any new super chats. Again, my deepest apologies. I wanted to try and talk to Anti-Globe without too many interruptions from super chats. Although, as you saw, I was happy to reach a point and then go back and read them. This one from Neil Sullivan for £4 saying nothing. Thank you, Neil. Another one from Second Best Bob. I sent one. Don't worry. Wink. Thank you, Second Best Bob. Yeah, thanks, Bob. I'm sure you're not that Bob. So it's letting me scroll back. But any more? Yeah, I think there were more. Sorry, guys. Wow, that was interesting. Let me get a couple people in and see what they think of that. What else we got? Thompson's a predator. Click the like button. Good advice, Walter. If it was Thompson, he would have been blocking people in the chat. Ugly. Talking about SpaceX. Killswitch King. How does the live chat waiting room work? Do I have to be a flat earther? No. Killswitch King. The way it works is, as in my description, it's open to everyone, flat earthers and should we say people who live in reality, or is that a bit rude? I'm not sure. All you do is you go onto my Discord, the link is below. There are three voice chat rooms live, which you can't get into directly. The arena, if you just want to chat, and live waiting room, which is where you want to wait if you want to suddenly be dragged out and put in chat. That's all there is to it. You should have a microphone and ideally headphones of some sort so we don't get feedback. A little bit of feedback we can occasionally live with, but if it gets too bad, we have to drop you again. So yes, anyone is welcome to join in. Now see, I have a super chat. I'm not going to let it slip. Let me scroll down. Hold on. Oh, there it is. From Dean Johnson for $10 US. How do Flurfs explain comets that are predictable as to when and where they will appear again years in the future? When they disappear from view for years, where do they go on a flat Earth? Good question. I have no idea. Right, excuse me. Oh, it's all those COVIDs catching up with me again. I quite enjoyed that. So it turns out that although obviously I don't agree with Anti-G, I don't think he knows what he's talking about. I got a feeling that he was honest in his beliefs. I saw some people said he's a Poe. I guess if he's a good Poe, you wouldn't know. But at least he was polite, respectful, and I can see having a debate with him. So I hope he does message me, and we will get that set up, a formal debate. As I said, I was happy to chat, happy for him to argue, happy for me to argue, but I'm not going to try and declare a win or whatever because he had no time to prepare, so I don't like to try and catch him on the hop. I just thought it'd be interesting to sound him out, and also he can now know that he can trust me to be fair. So that's a result, I think. That's a result. So let me drag in. Who have we got? Oh, I know. Let's drag in. Actually, I'll give you warning. Keela. Oh, that was magic. She'd gone off. Let me drag her in now. Hey, Keela. Hello.
Hi.
Did you know I was going to drag you in? I was literally just saying I'm going to give you warning.
I had no idea. But
No
hi,
idea.
how are you?
I'm fine. I suddenly saw that you had your mic muted, so I was going to give you warning, and then boom, the second I said that, you became unmuted. What I will say is Hugh Jas has just made an important announcement. He's super chatted $5 Australian saying, whatever you do, don't read this super chat.
Oh.
Hugh Jas. Anyway,
Gotcha.
yes. So how are you?
I'm grand. I've been sick for a while, and the last couple of days, yeah, I've come back to myself, thankfully.
Good. Well, I'm glad to
How have
hear
you
it.
been?
Well, right now I'm
You haven't been well either.
No, I haven't. I'm waiting for the results of the COVID test as well. Hopefully that'll be in tomorrow. I don't really think I got it. It's just that my symptoms were all over the place. Some of them overlap with COVID, so they wanted to be sure, and I understand that.
And it's better to be safe than sorry.
It is. And actually, if I've got it, then I think I'm getting off lightly. Yeah, I've had some pain in my back and my foot and so on, but I have some underlying health issues which would have made COVID potentially very, very nasty for me. So if I'm one of those people that has it and has got off really lightly, then I'll be glad it's over and done with. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had it turned out to be pneumonia, and I had fluid on the lung, so I had to get my lung actually drained. So that was not a fun experience, and that's about as far into it as I'll go.
Okay.
But I had
Well,
to.
surely
I
all
did
they
have
do
to
is
be
they-
airlifted to hospital.
Airlifted?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, should I say?
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if I was conscious for the whole thing.
Oh, so you
but I
didn't get to
wasn't.
enjoy it? Oh.
Not really.
You should ask for your money back then. Oh, second best Bob just super chatted £2 saying super chats don't work. Well, apparently they do. What doesn't work is Streamlabs' flipping notification system. At least for me. I'm sorry about that. I feel dreadful. Those
The doc is the professor is still on holidays, is he?
yes. Well, the thing is, I saw. Yeah, I can't do that anymore. I did see super chats come up, but of course I was talking to Auntie G, and I wanted to get a bit of a chat and a discussion going. And firstly, it could be many interruptions, and secondly, if people were being harsh to him, I'd have had to read those out, as long as they weren't just downright insulting. But if they were harsh on him, he might have just taken the ump. Although,
Yeah.
I think he might have actually taken it. What did you think of how he was on the stream?
He was polite. I think I don't like to call people a po, but questions there. I think a lot of what he's arguing is very naive and idealistic and not grounded in reality at all.
I agree, it's not real.
No.
But
It was difficult to actually grasp what his point was, because as soon as he half made a point, he went on to something else.
Yes. Yeah. And where it isn't easy is if he did have something that was interesting. Some of the things were perhaps be easier to explain with a diagram. So if if we had a formal thing and he's prepared and he sent me slides so we could put it up, then perhaps I would know exactly what he was talking about. I think I did most of the time, but there's that stuff about horizons and flats on a sphere. And I was getting the idea, you can imagine a hexagon, and if you're looking on one face, the edge of that hexagon, that corner, being horizon. I'm sure that was what he was getting at. But obviously not a hexagon, but a lot more flats. Wow. But I thought you'd be an interesting person to pull in because of the psychological side of it. What sort of input would you have on that?
I'm not sure what to make. I'll probably rewatch it and I'll have little notes, but it was, to me, it was sort of he wasn't a flat earther. He didn't want to be known as a flat earther, but he
No.
wanted to be different. So in that case, I suppose that's why initially when he started talking, I was like, well, this is kind of what a Poe does, you know. But I'm not sure how to take him. I will rewatch the stream and I'll listen very, very closely to what he was saying. Very hard when you have about 10 other people having a chat with you in the side chat. But he was interesting. He was definitely different in the sense that, I don't know, he didn't know exactly what he was saying. And yet he was very confident in what he was saying. But he wasn't rude about it.
No, no, he wasn't rude
That was
about
very
it.
interesting.
Someone's given me a link to see Super Chats within YouTube Studio. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Let's it's thinking about it. Right.
Hello chat, by the way. Hello people. Click
And-
that like button.
I've got it. So if I jump back, right, now Pinion. I remember reading that one. Right, the Snark, €2. Thanks for the link. €2. What a nerve, and that without a flat Earth model. And then the Snark again for €2. Just a flurfer who knows nothing about mathematics. Excuse me. David Oliver, £5. The potato effect. The bigger the object, the more spherical it becomes. And David Oliver again for £5. A sea lion can balance a sphere on a point. They're good at balancing balls on their nose tips. And Second Best Bob saying, hello, I'm late, I hope you're all well now. And then the one that I read from Second Best Bob, that was for £5. For £2, saying I sent one, don't worry. And Neil, who kindly did a super chat for nothing for £4. Oh, there's more. Dean Johnson, $10 US. How do flirts explain comets that are predictable? So I read that one. Oh, and then Hugh Jars and Second Best Bob again with super chats don't work. That's brilliant. I will no longer even attempt to rely on the stream one. So I just go on to the channel monetization. There we go. Brilliant.
Yep.
That's a winner. I wonder if it updates real time. I presume I'd have to refresh it.
I tend to click refresh just in case there's something you miss, because I'm sometimes reading them out on the iNetwork. So
Yes.
which actually in about 15-20 minutes I'll be on. So
Any particular topic or guest on there tonight?
let me see, because there is a guest. I'm trying to think of their name. Sorry, it kind of escapes me now.
Well, I think someone's
purple rhymes with orange.
forgotten your name. Thanks God it's flat. Says a female with the goats. Perfect.
Yep. I've been called everything from the girl with the goats to, what is it? Goat mother?
Goat mother.
Mother of goats?
Oh, and I just see is a super chat from
Goat
Brain.
mother of goats. The lady with the goats. Yeah, I've been called everything.
Lady with the golden goat. Brainery super chat is 50 Swedish krona with do you know what, it looks like a pair doing a mic drop. These stickers are weird.
I love those stickers. They're so much fun.
Well, they
They're
are,
so much
but
fun.
as I said, I don't
Yeah,
quite
the mic
know.
drop.
Mic drop. Yeah, I can
Mic
see
drop.
the mic. Although he looks like he's got one of those headbands that runners or tennis players used to use, like Bjorn Borg. Yeah. Well, I was quite pleased with that. I was glad he came because I've got to be honest and say I really didn't think he would. I thought he was just going to be sort of mouth and no trousers because I had been posting the invites on lots of his videos and he hadn't commented and replied to them. But obviously he saw one at some point and decided to come along. So that's cool. That's cool.
It's good that you got to come in one-on-one and actually have a discussion and not a debate.
Yes, yeah, that was a
and
friendly discussion.
Think through his ideas a little bit more. I think halfway through there were certain things he was saying and then he was going back on because he wasn't quite as confident.
Yes, he
on
went
what he
quiet
was
at a
saying.
few places, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did.
But actually,
and
that's
I
not a
think
bad
he was
thing.
actually listening. He was listening. There's another guy. I'm trying to think of his name. He was on with MC Toon a while ago. The Mad Philosopher. He's another one that myself and a few others have been talking to behind the scenes and just trying to tease out what he actually believes and why he believes that. And I think that's a lot better of an approach with those type of people than, the dumpster fires.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it, let's say I did a dumpster, or was willing to try and do that. If he pulled some idea out of the hat that I've not been aware of, then how can I even dumpster fire if I haven't thought about it or whatever? No, it's much. I agree. That was just going to be a friendly chat. We could disagree. I guess in a way, sound each other out a bit. Then maybe he can use that to think, oh, do you know what, I'm going to have to drop that, but I'll argue this point. So it could make a more interesting, proper debate when it comes to it.
I mean, I like the idea of discussion more than debate at the moment because, to me, there's nothing to debate. There is nothing really to debate about the shape of the Earth. There are things to discuss about it, misgivings and whatnot, but there's nothing to debate. So when you're going on to a debate, your mind is more, and it is a mindset. And I know this from years of debating. When you go into a debate, you're automatically, in a sense, defensive. You're waiting. It's more about waiting for your opponent to stop speaking so you can speak some more. So you're not actually listening to what they're saying. Whereas a discussion, you're listening and you're engaging with what they're saying rather than what do I need to say next to refute what they're saying. And I think it's a lot
refute's
healthier.
A good word. It's definitely adversarial. I mean, we were adversarial, but in a genteel way, as opposed to right, I've got to try and win points or rubbish his points.
Exactly. It's a different mindset. When you're having a discussion and you're having a chat, it's a different mindset to having a debate.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that in this community, as you said earlier, we can get all of that.
Or from different channels, different styles, different ways of doing things.
Oh, it's all over the place.
But I'd like to chat with him just in case. There's a couple of slam dunks in there. I mean, it wasn't a case of look for a slam dunk so I could grind his face in the dirt, but a slam dunk that made him stop.
Yeah,
and then,
that
and
you
then
could
not
clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you could clarify and say, well, actually, this is how it works. Or what do you mean by this? And what's great is the next Challenging Conspiracies that I'm working on, I'm working with Professor Phil Bell on the idea of models. And so this discussion here was very, very beneficial to me. So,
ooh, well, that's good.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
I'll read out a super chat. John Rapp, $2 Australian, saying, "Now for a good scar story for super sociologists." Wow, a scar story? Is he talking about you?
Yeah, he's talking about my lung being drained. Yeah, I have a little scar.
I see.
But
couldn't they just hang you up by the feet upside down, let it all drain like that? Let gravity do it.
That is so gross. Let's not focus on my damaged lung. Thank you.
Oh.
It's a weird thing because I'm kind of thankful now that I quit smoking 4 months ago.
Good
because
for you.
Otherwise it would be painful.
Oh yes. Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
My poor lung. My poor lung.
Oh dear. Well, and how is Kepler and Space Comma doing all right, I hope?
Well, Space Comma had recently had an eye infection and we treated that. There is a little bit of ORF going around the herd at the moment, so it's just like a little bit of swelling of the lips, but they haven't had it. There's only 2 or 3 with it, so...
You sure it's not some sort of Botox or whatever?
It looks like Botox gone wrong.
So you've got some really sexy looking goats now.
Oh, gorgeous. All my goats are sexy. All my goats are gorgeous. Have you seen them? Yeah, I sent you an updated picture a while ago of
I did see
Space
it,
Comet
yes.
and Kepler.
Yes. They do look
So
great.
yeah, the two of them have gotten so big. It's amazing watching them grow because that first 2 months, they just grow so much in that first 2 months, and then you have like 4 months where they barely grow at all, and then they get their next growth spurt, and then they're huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was watching a thing on TV this morning about some, I don't know what they were, some sort of eagles or whatever, and the amount that they sort of grow from roughly egg size to birds that are big enough to fly in just a couple of months. It's amazing how fast animals can grow. Hello. I think the goat's got her internet again. Hello, Keela.
I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
Were you
goes in and
aware?
out.
Were you aware? I brought it up earlier on. I believe that you've been nominated in the Debunkies.
Yeah, so here's the thing about that. I have to have a word with Team Skeptic about this because he's doing it all the time, and FTFE sometimes, but Team is terrible at this. He'll set a topic for his live stream, and then it'll be like 2-3 hours before he gets to the topic of the live stream. Really frustrates me because he doesn't start his live stream until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, So like halfway through, I was like, nope. Brain says no. So I just like, while I was listening, I just passed out. And then all of a sudden, people are messaging me saying, you were nominated for this.
Well, perhaps you
Why
need
didn't
to
you speak?
watch it on the repeat and keep jumping forward. That's what I did. Because I think the best part of an
But
hour,
it's
they were
very
just waffling about other
flattering.
stuff.
Yeah, big time. But I do like to be in the chat. I love those live streams. We have great fun in those live streams. But yeah, it just came to a point where I just wasn't able to continue. And just really quickly, in the chat right now is Mr. Blue Marble Science. I want to say hello to Blue. And also that we did a Challenging Conspiracies recently. He was the guest, and we did it on Science or Religion, or Is Science or Religion. So that was absolutely brilliant to be able to work with him.
Yeah, Blue's a nice guy. A lot of time for you, Blue. We've spoken before on Discord and that. Good channel. Actually, someone if you can drop the link to Blue Marble Science. You've got a spanner. Drop a link to your channel, please. And people should check that out. Definitely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think Blue's
his videos are just brilliant.
Blue's, I think, also nominated in the Debunkies in the category whatever his sub level is. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think we're in the same one.
Ooh.
I think it's between 1 and 5K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I'm telling you now, Blue absolutely deserves to be up with the FTFEs and Team Skeptics. He deserves that. He's just an amazing content creator and the nicest person I've ever met.
Oh, so I'm not very nice. Keela
Oh, you
doesn't
are.
like me. No.
I do.
No, Blue's
That's
the
why I keep
nicest. You
coming
said. I heard you say it, and I'm going to listen
One
to
of
it
the
on the
nicest.
replay.
One of the nicest. But yeah, I said I'd drop in and I'd say hello. This is the first chance I've gotten really since being healthy again. But yeah, I love the show.
Actually, I've seen comments from 2 people in the chat saying about me smoking. So just a quick update on that. Yes, I am still smoking. I have not tried to give up. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I've got some massive, and I mean massive, stresses and concerns in my life right now, which means I don't stand a hope. We're hoping that those massive stresses are going to be out the way sooner rather than later. Things are progressing. It involves the sale of a house, and that's still proceeding okay. When I reach the point that is sold, suddenly everything changes and 98% of the stress in my life disappears. There's still be the ordinary stress, at which point I will shamelessly use all you guys for support and encouragement and threats if it looks like I'm wavering to help me give up.
Can I just give you a little piece of advice?
What's
So
that?
when I gave up, I'm 4 months off them now,
Okay.
and I've been smoking since I was 11. But the way I did it initially anyway, even now, what I was doing was, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do this, but what I did was, instead of saying I can't have a cigarette, I can't have a smoke, what I was saying was, let's leave it another hour, see if I can go another hour. Let's see how long I can leave it. And again, it's a different mindset that you're not forbidding yourself if you need a smoke, because one of the biggest reasons why people fail at quitting smoking is because of that guilt, that like, if I have a smoke, that's it. I can't keep going. I just have to have a smoke. But whereas if you have the mindset is, if I need a smoke, I can have one, but let's see how long I can go without one.
No, I appreciate that. And Mrs.
Not everyone can do it though.
No, that's right. Mrs. Sensible is totally a social smoker. I mean, she actually has decided and just hasn't smoked for months. But what she's always done is just had one tonight, have another one in about 6 weeks' time, and then a week after that, have 2 or 3 on a night out. And she can always totally take it or leave it. That's not me. I'm highly addicted to it. I've tried all sorts of things, but the big thing is the massive amount of stress. I'm not going to go into it on the stream right now.
Oh no.
Not because of personal interest, because I have hiding personal details, because I have discussed it on the stream. It's just so much, and it probably is some stuff that I can't discuss as well. But basically, in many ways, my life is extremely. I'm not complaining, because my life is very good and very comfortable in lots of other ways, but I have some massive stresses, and we thought that these stresses would all be out the way earlier this year. Then COVID happened, everything slowed down, and then everything went wrong again, but now we're back in the position. So we're hoping that in, let's say, something like 2 months' time, that all goes away, in which case I will be looking to stop.
And you will absolutely have all of our support.
And do you know what? I know that, and that is wonderful. So I don't want to blow it by trying now and failing, and then trying again in a couple of weeks' time and failing. No, I want to wait until I'm in that position.
No, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to give up.
Exactly. So perhaps
or to even attempt it.
Yeah. There's a couple of super chats. David Oliver super chatted £5 saying, "I voted for you, Crafty, and have goats who's got frogs in them as well as horses." And have goats who's got frogs in them? What's that talking about? Is that some in-joke?
I have no idea.
I voted for you, Crafty, and have goats who's got frogs in them as well as horses.
Goat who's got frogs in them as well as horses.
Don't ask me, I'm not the goat lady. And there was another super chat.
No, they don't have frogs.
There you go.
They
Question
don't have
answered.
frogs in their hooves.
Question answered. Me and Crafty, we know everything. That one, Crafty knows. David Oliver super chatted £2 saying, "And I voted for you too, Mr. Sensible." Thumbs up. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you very much. It's going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's cool. It's cool that the community are the ones that are getting to nominate. The community is being involved at every level in this. It's very positive, and it's you don't do this for rewards. You don't do it for anything else. It's just a bit of fun. But it is nice to actually be noticed and appreciated by the community that you're in.
Yes, very, very nice.
I'm astounded at every live stream that I went in while I was in hospital. People were so supportive and so nice about me being sick. Even now, I'm going into streams. Are you okay now? Are you okay now? And it's just, people think that I'm bored of that question, which I'm not, because it just goes to show how much people care.
Yeah. I tell you, you're right. I posted that thing on my community tab about being ill, and then saying I'd do an update vid, and last time I looked, there was 80 odd messages of support. And do you know what? Actually, I'm going to call it up now. There was one from a flat earther, one message from a flat earther. Let me just find it, because I do want to read this. Trip to Cornwall. Oh, it's actually 101 messages now. If I order them and then scroll down, because I was rather surprised at this. I mean, I remember on my 1,000 subscriber special, I forgot the guy's name, but this guy who always had a go at me, typical flat Earth trolling, actually just said, "Oh, it's Nobby Bob, the Odd Job Bob Knobman, the one who always making comments that I was picking up and playing." He messaged me and said, "Congratulations on your 1K," which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
And I actually made big of that, because I thought that was very nice, because he can disagree with me all sorts, and that's fine, but to actually appreciate the fact that it meant something to me, and obviously I'd put in time and effort, and yeah, I thought that was great. So I'm just scrolling down, I'm hoping I find it.
Well, I'm gonna have to jump off because we have a
Well,
show starting.
Well,
now.
basically, okay, but just to let you know, what this guy basically said, it was Hell and Degenerates. If you've come across him, he's a troll. He basically said, "Well, that's what you get for lying to people." How about that? Isn't that nice?
That is nasty.
Isn't it? You got.
Nasty.
I didn't have a go at him. I just said, "Well, thanks for that. Isn't that sad that you can't think of anything better to say with your life?" Left him
It goes to show the character of these people.
Exactly. Okay, Keela.
I mean, there's been times where Ranty put something up there about something medical, and I'm not going to go into it, but it was like a lot of Globers were saying, "Go see a doctor, get better soon, get seen to," and it was that kind of thing. It's just it's rotten that certain people can't just be polite.
That's right. I don't have to agree with you. I don't even have to like you. But why would I wish ill on you?
Exactly. But look, Mr. Sensible, please take care of yourself.
I will.
I will
Thank
talk to you on the next live stream, and I love you, and I love the chat. You guys are awesome.
Oh, she loves me now. Earlier on, it was nothing but Blue Marble Science. Oh, he's wonderful.
It was amazing.
He's great, isn't he?
But there's my heart is big enough for more than one person.
Oh, cool.
Thankfully.
Oh, threesome. All right. Okay, Keela, I'll let you go. You take care.
I'm not even going to go there.
You take care. Bye-bye now.
That's going to be clipped.
See ya. Wow, that was fun. Right, let's grab a couple people who haven't been in. We've got... they both got their mics. Let's bring in Farmers. He's on mic. Hello,
Hi.
Farmers.
Hello,
you're back in here, and I'm going to bring in Pip. Hello, Pip. Are you live?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't think we were going to make it in here.
Hey.
You're finishing up.
And I'm going to bring in the other one, whose name I don't recognise, Zeta Prime G1. Hello, Zeta Prime G1. Are you live, sir? You're live. Hello.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yes.
Good, there's no feedback or anything like that.
No, there is some feedback.
Oh, sorry, is it really bad?
Get your YouTube off. Switch the YouTube channel off. Or mute it.
Yes, then you just hear us on Discord.
Yeah.
There we go. Is that a bit better?
That's it.
That is better,
Yeah,
yes indeed.
Sorry.
Hello, and welcome to you.
This is the first time I've ever done something like this.
Okay, that's not a problem. I'll just say Ugly German Truce and Peter Quinn, both off. Thank you very much for coming. Take care, good night. Yeah, that's no worries. We won't bite your head off, Zeta, although Pip might. She's like that.
Oh, slander.
So do you have a channel? Are you a flat earther?
No,
are you a
no.
glober?
I'm obviously a glober.
Good.
Realistic game. But I'm a recently qualified audiologist.
Okay.
I did some things with the Krakatoa explosion in 1883.
Oh, you must be older than I'd have guessed then.
So it's just some interesting facts that I thought I'd share with people if they didn't know a huge amount of sound and things like that.
What I will say, Zeta, that there is a video about how loud a bang or something, and talking about various things. I don't know, whatever the thing is, an aircraft engine. So many kilograms of dynamite, a volcano, Krakatoa. I'm sure was one of them, because didn't the sound travel around the world several times?
Yeah, so the explosion was about 314 decibels. So you're thinking of your conventional, you say a Boeing 747 is probably around about 120, 125, give or take.
Yeah.
The force of the explosion is around about 200 megatons of TNT. The Tsar bomber is only about 57 megatons of TNT, so you can kind of imagine that size of the explosion there.
Yes.
So the sound travelled around the world about 4 times, around about, over the period of a fair few days. And so in the atmosphere we have the inversion layer. And the inversion layer reflects sound back to the surface. So one thing that, it kind of debunks, flat Earth to some extent, as if the sound was traveling around the globe, with a flat Earth you would hit that inversion layer and the sound would then travel back. So sound takes about 34 hours to travel around the entire globe. What you would get with where Krakatoa is located in the Sumerian Strait, I think it is, you would see a vastly different time. And this is all stuff that was recorded on barometers, because by 1883 every major city had barometers, so there's pretty good evidence to show that that it was being recorded all across the world. So we're pretty conclusive that it traveled 4 times around. What you would see if there was a flat Earth is you would see the sound would reflect off the inversion layer on the edge of the flat Earth and then bounce back, and you would get a vastly different time with the barometers of the sound coming back and the air pressure coming back through.
So when you say a flat Earth and inversion layer, are you assuming, if you're talking about that there's a dome there? Because if it was an endless flat plane, okay, there's an ice wall and it goes on beyond that, then surely the sound is emanating from Krakatoa in all directions. Some of it reflecting off the inversion layer, but that would be like a triangle, wouldn't it? So that's the peak where it reflects, and then it would carry on. It would never come back to you, would it?
Yeah. So obviously, you've got how many different types of flat Earths that they say there are. It's ridiculous.
But that's really.
So if it was time, it would reflect all over the place. You get it. The sound would reflect at all different angles. It would be ridiculous. You'd see the barometers would go off constantly where the sound's coming back.
And it would depend if you were in the centre or near the centre. So I guess if they're taking the North Pole as a centre. So if you're someone like the extreme north of Russia or wherever, or Canada, you'd have a totally different pattern of repetitions and reflections than if you were someone near the equator.
So all the barometers that recorded it pretty much recorded it at repeating intervals.
Yes.
There's no variation in the intervals of them recording it. So it's just a little fun fact that I thought I'd share with people.
I think that's really interesting. That could be. I'm actually jotting it down on my whiteboard to have a look into that, to maybe use to base a video on, if you don't mind.
I know, honestly, use it. It's fantastic information. People don't really think of sound when it comes to debunking flat Earth and things like that, and it's just something I thought I'd share because it's uncommon knowledge, I suppose.
Yeah,
and obviously my field's work.
It's an equivalent of P waves and S waves from earthquakes and being used to map the fact that it must be a sphere.
Exactly.
But it's a totally different evidence. Nice one.
Yeah. I just thought I'd share it.
Yeah, that's brilliant stuff, isn't it?
I don't really have a huge amount to say. I just wanted to share it.
That's all right.
No,
that's all right.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know if anyone wants to ask any questions about it or anything, but yeah.
So it was what, 1883?
Yes, so the explosion was 1883. It would have made you deaf in about a 10 to 25 mile radius from the explosion. Completely deaf, instantaneously. If it didn't kill you straight away, that is, obviously, with the force of the explosion. But yeah, there's so much evidence on it. You know, we've got the barometers. There's accounts from people hearing it from New York, actually physically hearing the sound several hours after it happened.
I wonder how loud it would be if you're hearing it that sort of distance.
So the way that decibels work is every time you increase in 3 decibels, you're doubling the level of sound perception that you're perceiving the sound as. It's around about that anyway. So if you think of it as 120 for a plane, and you go to 300, you can kind of gauge the difference.
Yes.
But obviously sound dissipates over distance. It would probably, most likely, hearing it from sort of New York, it would probably sound like a gunshot.
Yeah.
So
So loud enough to make you know it's not just a background rumble that you might notice. You would definitely hear it.
You would definitely hear it, yeah. Exactly. That's the loudest sound we've ever recorded in human history.
Mm.
So it was even louder than the Motorhead concert.
Yep.
Or a concert, a concert by Disaster Area.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, which actually breaches several strategic arms limitation treaties.
I did have walking back from watching Metallica at the Monsters of Rocket Donington, and we were all having to shout at each other to make ourselves heard. But even that pales into insignificance compared to Krakatoa by the sound.
Just a bit.
Yeah, bloody hell, 300 decibels. I mean, you just can't imagine how loud that is. So it's
an incredibly loud sound.
Yes.
I mean, that sort of volume of sound, assuming you weren't killed by the actual explosion, the volume of the sound, that becomes physical, doesn't it? If you were close to it.
Air pressure, So it would just... So to put it into a little bit more of a perspective, I don't know if anyone's seen sort of audio and video of nuclear explosions. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs, they're about 214 decibels. And the sound pressure of the shockwave of that is enough to knock you off your feet for about 40 miles away.
Yeah.
And it would smash windows and all of that. So you think 300 decibels, you'd be thrown for such a distance if you were close enough to it. It was enough to destroy one of the islands, or created a new island, I think, as well. Don't quote me on that, though.
But I mean, because you can actually feel sound if you put your... I'm sure we all know that. You put your hand in front of speakers, go boom, 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 and you'll feel it. Yep. And that's nothing like that scale. So it does make you realise how physical it would be.
Yeah. It would definitely cause internal damage as well if you're close enough. Your organs would not be very happy about that.
No.
Well, that's the same as blast damage from an explosion.
Yeah.
You know, people that got caught in the air raid in the Second World War, you know, they were killed. Outwardly, they look absolutely fine, but they were killed by the sort of the overpressure, the shockwave, and it just ruptured all their internal organs. And they'd find people lying in the street who looked perfectly fine on the outside, but they were dead. And it was the pressure wave that had killed them. I think that sound that loud would create just the same sort of pressure wave, wouldn't it?
It's kind of unfathomable.
Well, it's definitely one to look at. So honestly, Zeta, I thank you for that.
That's no problem at all.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you came on it to say this. And so, did you say you do have a channel?
I don't.
You don't have a channel. Okay.
I mean, I'm on YouTube, but I don't actively post anything or anything like that. I've been doing my degree and everything, so I've been very busy. I haven't been able to do anything like that.
Yeah, well, that's much more important. Much more important.
Yeah.
Can I ask, without you doxing yourself any more than you want to, what sort of part of the world are you from?
I'm from the UK.
I thought you probably were.
Yeah, I guess that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can never be totally sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what
Yeah.
a night. It's been quite interesting. It's gone rather well. What did you make of Anti-G then, guys?
I you know what? I haven't a clue. I really didn't. What the hell was he on about?
Have you
I need a
seen...
new monitor.
Sorry, Pip?
I need a new monitor. You didn't give out a word. I thanked you.
So have you not seen his stuff?
Oh yeah, I've seen you. Well, I've seen you doing his stuff.
I was gonna say, if you
Yes.
turn around and say no, I'd have said, "Aren't you watching my channel?" Then, but yeah, it's
Yes.
some strange stuff. Strange stuff. I
I
wasn't
didn't
expecting him
get the
to be
fact-
quite so.
Sick.
No, I was going to say I wasn't expecting him to be quite so balanced and that on the channel. I thought, do you know what I mean? Although I obviously totally disagree with what he's saying, he seemed to be honest and decent. Seemed to be. I'll take him at face value. Yeah, I was expecting him to be a lot more like Right the Hand or someone like that.
I was trying to figure out what he was on about. You know, the bigger the sphere, the bigger the flat, and I'm like, no. What are you on about? A sphere's a sphere. It doesn't matter whether it's a marble or the sun. You know, it's not comprised of flat surfaces. It's not a 20-sided dice or something.
No, but do you know,
that just lost me completely.
I do think I know what he's trying to get at. If you had like a football and looked at the side of it, sat on a flat surface, you could pretty much see those surfaces curving down towards the flat, and a very, very tiny area, be that a point or more than a point, literally touching. Whereas if you had something the size of the sun, because obviously the curve in a small flat area like a desk would be virtually nothing, it would look as though the whole thing is touching. So I think that's what he's getting at. But
Right.
I think he's just arguing semantics, really, because when it comes to it, it'd still be only touching at one point.
That's
if you
it.
had perfect sphere and a perfect flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
I you know, obviously because we was in the chat, I was only listening with half an ear to start with, but it was like, what are you on about? No, lost me completely. Didn't have a clue, to be honest.
But hopefully now, hopefully he trusts me a bit, not just to, you know, just angrily shout and swear and mute, you know, not to do an Oakley on him.
Yes.
Hopefully he'll be up for a debate. I'll happily talk about whatever and argue the case and try and prove him where it's wrong, you know, show him to be wrong. But as Keeler was saying, I think he was actually listening and thinking on what I said, even if he didn't change his mind. And that's a good position for him to be in, you know.
It's a good start, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
Usually it goes in one ear out the between, and they just don't want to know. They don't want to listen. But if he was actually listening, then
Yeah.
maybe he took something in. Yeah.
Nice one. Well, we're at 11:45, and I just realised I haven't yet, so I shall do it now. Play my patrons list. I'm hoping it's the very latest updated version. I didn't check. I didn't have time, so let me just play this. To all my patrons, including new patrons Jason Blackford, Colin Field, Scott Emmett O'Donnell, Irish Dublin, Bob Yake and Kiri Mack, and my latest patron, Brainery. Thank you all so very much. Well, at the scale that I could see it on the screen, I actually couldn't make it out whether it was the latest. I'll have to see as it's playing on Brainery. Do you know what? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I think there's another one. I'm pretty sure there's another guy. So apologies for that. It's a slightly... I think it's only one set out of date. My apologies. Ooh.
Well, yeah, but that's in keeping with your track record, isn't it?
Hey now. Well, what about when I played Anti-Globe's video earlier on? I forgot to actually transition it over, so I'm sat there. Good job I wasn't sat there picking my nose or something. Was I? But so I'm commenting on this video that only I can see. Never mind.
No, never mind.
No, it could
Got
be
through
worse.
Yes.
Worse things happen at sea.
So I've been told. I mean, you know,
Like what?
well, just ask the passengers on the Titanic for a start.
Well, if you've spoken to what's his name? Oh gosh, what is his name? I did him, didn't I, recently? About his Titanic theory. He didn't think there was anyone on the Titanic.
Oh, yes, you did. What was his? What was that?
What his name was now.
You can't be serious.
Oh yeah.
No,
serious.
yeah.
Oh, it's him.
It was all fake.
Yeah,
no
the
board.
photos are just a model. It's all studios.
That's right. I remember seeing that. Can't remember who it was.
I'm just trying to pull up my list of videos, see if I can find. It wasn't too far back. I just can't think of his name right now. It was Hans.
Oh yes, Hans Wormhat. Yes,
That's the one.
that idiot. Yeah.
Yes, Hans Wormhat. I'm just having a look at that channel monetization thing just to make sure. Yeah, I think I'm up to date with super chats. Oh, that was so bad, but I'm glad that... do you know what? I've even seen this before in the studio, but I never thought of using that during a live stream. I will have to do so in future, because that works perfectly, and the Streamlabs thing now isn't working either on the broadcast software or on the Streamlabs site, for me. Because every time I log out and log back in again, it logs in to Streamlabs with my old personal YouTube account, which I never use anymore. So I can't see the super chats for Mr. Sensible. There we go. Right. Well, guys.
Hey ho.
Yes, hey ho. Or as a guy I used to work with said, ho hum chrysanthemum. Quite why he said that, I don't know, but there we go. He's probably a flat earther now. So listen, guys, I'm going to say, well, look, there's three of you in here, so we'll go back to what I used to do. Any final words, Farmer's Boy?
No, I'm as confused now as I was before. So there you go.
Well, no worse than you started then. Well, listen,
Exactly.
I'll drop you back into live waiting room, and I'll say thank you very much for joining me. Okay, you take care. All the
And
best.
thank you. You too, sir.
You're welcome. And Pipe Parrot.
Yeah.
Yes, Pipe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yes.
Good.
Well,
Good.
a bit of a back as well. I'm
Have you?
walking like half. Yeah.
And have you got any new videos due out?
No, I had one this morning.
Oh, which one was that? I haven't seen that yet.
The Do-Gooder, the Ladybird Book of Do-Gooder.
Oh, that sounds fun. Do you know what, those Ladybird books for adults are brilliant, aren't they?
They're good, and you see the pictures, you think, I remember from years ago.
I tell you what, if you sent me I said I'd do a story. If you sent me, the images from one of those Ladybird books, I'll quite happily do a story based on those images without seeing whatever text they've put to it. How's that?
Right, I'll send you some. Yeah.
Cool.
No problem.
I'll do that, and I'll bundle it back up, and you can pop it on your. I'll write you a story, and then you can read it in your own inimitable style.
Thank you, and don't be too
Nice.
Yeah.
You want a bit of smut and filth in there, do you? Okay, that's cool by me. I'll write it under a pen name. Yeah, I'll make it really disgusting, and I'll sign it Creaky Blinder or something.
Okay.
All right, listen, you take care. I look forward to seeing you again. Okay.
Yeah, great. Thanks
care.
again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, Colon. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in to advise everybody the Shills just had their video dropped. They will be coming back in about 10 minutes.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Anybody going across there, please give them a chance. Okay, they're just resetting up a stream.
Oh, well, thanks for letting us know. I'm actually going to knock your sound down a bit with your new mic system.
I'm sorry about that.
No. It's just when people come in the first time, I have to balance them. And the clever thing is about Discord, it does actually remember them, which is nice.
Oh, cool.
That's better.
Okay, well, sorry for jumping in. And,
No, not at all,
you,
not at all. So everyone, Shills is still on. They just got a technical hitch right now. Sounds good.
Yeah. No
okay.
problem.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for the night. Being fantastic. Well done.
Good. All right. Well, I'll catch up with you soon, Conan.
All right.
Take care. And Zeta. So thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully you didn't find it too bad, as it's your first time ever going on a live stream.
This is the very first time I've done anything like this. So yeah, thank you for letting me share just a little bit of information with everyone.
It's brilliant. Honestly, I loved it. And that is definitely a new take on things. I've not seen that used before. I better get onto it before someone else watches this stream and decides to do that. So actually, what I should do is also write Zeta Prime G1 because I'll give you credit, of course, for having pointed out this line of attack.
Thank you. That would be amazing.
No, my pleasure. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us. What I'll do is I'll drop you in the live waiting room where you're welcome to stay as long as you want and chat with whoever's still there. Because the live waiting room you can come into, go out of, come back again as you will, whereas this one you can't. Okay, so thanks very much, and I hope to hear from you again, okay?
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You take care. Good night.
Yes, bye-bye.
And there we have it. What a great night. I've covered all the bits I needed to do. If you're still here, Steve Green, I hope your birthday's still going great. We talked about, we went through the chat and hellos like normal, talked about an update on my COVID situation, if it is COVID. We talked about the Debunkies, which is Team Skeptic's channel, so please have a look at that. He's got more categories to cover, so there'll be more nominations to be made. Whether I fit into any of those categories or not, I'm sure there's other debunkers who you may know who you could nominate. So it's a worthy thing to do. And then, of course, we went through a bit of Anti-Globe's stuff, and then he joined us. I genuinely enjoyed that. It was fun, and I will try and sort out a debate with him. Oh, I see someone's mentioning Multi-Tom-Tom. Mr. Sensor is still going, must be desperate for money. Well, Multi-Tom-Tom, the reason we're going so long is another non-glober came in. He did what you have not so far had the balls to do. He came in and had a chat on my live stream. So I'll give him 10 out of 10 for that. I might disagree 100% with what he said, but he had the balls to come in here and have the chat. He wasn't muted, he wasn't shouted down, he wasn't booted. So far, you've avoided that for months. What does that say? I'll leave that with you, Tom. Anytime you could come on the stream and have a chat. So, yes, so we did that, and I talked a bit about the project. I will try and keep you updated as much as I can. The official announcement is currently scheduled to be 31st July. It's possible, for reasons that I won't mention right now, it's possible I move that forward a couple of days, but I will make sure everyone knows, because I want everyone to see this announcement when it comes. And then had a general chat with some guests, which was, as always, pleasant. Listen, thank you ever so much, everybody who's joined in. Thanks for that, Chris. I did enjoy tonight, I really did. Link to the shills. Can someone drop a link to the shills in the chat before we end? That would be great. Now, where was I? I forgot what I was saying now. What was I saying? Oh, people are talking about Tom. What a shame. You haven't got the balls, Tom. I'm afraid. Anti-G, I've only done a couple of videos about him. Dropped invites to him over a couple of days, and he came on. Right, I was talking about the project. The announcement will be at the end of the month. Definitely check out Team Skeptic Debunkies. And I guess, has someone dropped the link to the shills? I'm not sure where their stream is right now, and it's going to be a little awkward to look. But if you search for the Shills, you should find it. Oh, there we go. Heat Shills just dropped it. Thank you, Heat. So there's a link to the Shills. Shill Show is always fun. Great bunch of people on there. So always recommended to have a look. Hey, Osvaldo Greco. Good evening to you. Oz, I don't know if you want to chat, jump into the live waiting room, because I'm going to go back in there. Wouldn't mind just a very quick word with you, if you don't mind, pal. Oh, Multi Tom Tom's waiting for Neil deGrasse Tyson to get back to him. Look, Multi Tom Tom, you haven't got a bloody hope. Not a hope. I tell you what, if you took someone like Simon Dan, I would very much doubt that Neil deGrasse Tyson would even be interested in going on Simon Dan's channel. So the hope of him coming on yours is a little less than nothing. Why don't you use me as a warm-up, a practice, so that you're really raring and good to go for when Neil does get in touch with you? How about that? Unbelievable, Tom Tom. Unbelievable. Right, I'm going to wrap up. Oh yes, I was saying thank you. So thank you to everyone who has been in the chat for joining in. Thank you very much for the super chats, guys. I apologise for the cock up with the super chats. I think I've got them all read. If I've missed anyone, my deepest apologies. It's certainly not meant in any way. So thank you for those. Thank you to my patrons, and thank you to the guest tonight. So I'm going to say thank you very much, good night, and stay sensible. It's certainly not coming in any way. So thank you. Thank you to my patrons.